Nerdrotic.com.
Thank you. Hello. Welcome to the Nerdrotic Nooner. Kind of a quickie today. Got a lot of stuff to do. I had an undershirt under this and it was just too hot. It was too hot. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, a Spider-Man trailer leaked yesterday. Can't imagine Kevin Feige's happy about that. But it might be a godsend for him because it made everyone forget about the absolute triumph of the Eternals and Shang-Chi immediately. Then we had a tweet that was going around yesterday that was pretty funny that I noticed a couple of years ago. That tweet probably would get people fired from their job. And now it's a lot safer to mock it. And I find it very interesting. I find it very interesting. And then, of course, Gina Carano was right. As we knew all along, just look at Australia, just look at Canada, and what could be coming here. I mean, look at our country. I can't say much. I can't be too judgmental of Australia and Canada, considering what we've pulled off over the last week or so. You know, while we were all having fun in Vegas, our president was taking a vacation while we did something pretty disgraceful, I think. Just my opinion. And then we got a recall coming up here. Normally don't get into that much politics, but this is concerning our situation here with our family. It affected us directly as well as it affected thousands, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, millions. I don't know how many fellow Californians had to go through what we did, but I'm sure it was a lot. And I'm sure there's a lot worse cases out there. But you don't hear from them. You don't hear from them. And I'm sure that's deliberate. But let's see who's here. We got Bastard and his wrench. We got Cosmo Eddie. We got Andrew, Aiken, Judicon, Eric K. and his wrench. Bionic Sasquatch, Lance Johnson, Brett Allard, Allie Nielsen, Hale, or sorry, I'm so used to saying Hale, Hal Sigmund, Hale, Hal, Gold Trader, Mike N. has just become a member at the Jaloja level. Thank you very much. Yes, there will be a member stream in a couple of days. If Newsom wins, hello lockdown, says Carl Williams. Absolutely. A vote for Newsom is a vote for a lockdown. Is a vote for, except for Hollywood. Hollywood will be just fine. They have donated enough to Newsom to be exempt because they are essential, because pretending is so much more essential than, I don't know, going to the gym, which they're allowed to do, by the way. They're allowed to work out for their parts. And we're not allowed to work out for our health, which would certainly help fight all kinds of ailments. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. Obviously. Been kicked out of 3 high schools. I don't know much. But I do know that when I go to the gym, I feel better. mentally as well as, with the bod, especially at my age. I just turned 52. Thanks, everyone, for the birthday wishes this week. I really appreciated that. The birthday streams will be uploaded on Nerdrotic Live tonight. I just haven't had time to do it. I'm still catching up on stuff from Vegas. And there's going to be a lot more videos in the next couple of weeks. I've got some extra time to make more videos, which is good. Even work on that that review I've been talking about. I dare not even say its name. Oh, God, that show sucks. I keep thinking, the last thing I watch, What If it sucks, but it sucks on a different level. But Picard sucks. It really does suck on a Last Jedi level. It's just, Star Trek obviously isn't as big of a franchise as Star Wars because it's been mishandled by Paramount for years, even prior to when Jar Jar Abrams came on and mucked it up. Paramount wasn't great. They used to be not great so much, thanks to Viacom, CBS, and the Redstones and his harem or whatever the hell he's got. Now his daughter seems to be just as dumb as he was. Well, I mean, he's a billionaire, so goes to show. Let's start out with the tweet. I think that's pretty funny. I think we can start out with that. I first saw it from, I think it was Yellow Flash tweeted out, or was it Critical Drinker? One of those two fine YouTubers who we like quite a bit. And, there was, with What If going around, somebody did a great meme of what if Eric July was in my, I'll show that later because it is brilliant. All Rocks Matter, I believe, was the Twitter account. There we go. So I guess Blu-ray Angel was serious when they said this. You never know with Twitter. Whoever made this needs to get arrested. Now, they could have been sarcastic too, so I don't know. But whoever made this needs to be given a medal, the Nobel Peace Prize. The same one that Barack Obama got. I'm sure Joe Biden will get one too, especially with his work in Afghanistan. That was just legendary. So if you would have, maybe I'm wrong here, but if you would have posted this and retweeted it a couple of years ago, you probably would have been fired from your job. But the fact that you can put this up now, and because we've been in clown world for quite some time here, and life has become the parody, that it's okay to retweet this. And it always was, by the way. It always fucking was. It's okay to criticize how ridiculous the racial and gender swaps have gotten. I mean, Warner Brothers has taken them to a whole new level, which is beautiful because I don't think it's a coincidence that Warner Brothers has gotten worse since Jar Jar Abrams was signed. That's not a coincidence at all. That man has a lot of influence in Hollywood because he was anointed by Sir Spielberg. So, it's perfectly safe to tweet this out, to criticize it, and I think that's a good thing. Mock this shit as much as possible and continue to mock it because it's fucking ridiculous. And hey, Wakanda is or was prior to Black Panther, an isolationist ethno state. This is true. We have Father Christopher Miller here. I'm sorry, what? And he's talking about the ginger side. And that's half of it. That is just half of it. Yes. And, well, I think this was, Az did a great video on this. When Amberlan, when they're doing it with actual historical figures because they want to change history, they want to erase history. Yeah. That's how ridiculous it's gotten. So, yeah, I saw that, and I saw people retweeting it, and I'm sure there's a meltdown. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the people freaking out over this. I know it's out there, but I'm seeing our people. What I mean by our people is people who practice common sense. That could be anybody. Oh, you guys are brilliant. Yeah. Well, what about Valkyrie, too? Let's not forget Valkyrie. And as somebody did correctly point out that there is a, I believe it was 30s, the 20s or 30s, maybe the 40s, one of those decades, there was a Black Panther who was originally white. I'm sure we'll see it in here somewhere. But yeah, in a time where they have made Tim Drake gay and Jonathan Kent is going to be gay. Eric July all but confirmed that on Friday Night Tights. I won't say how, but he did. And I trust Eric July. So, I mean, this is how it ends when it becomes such a mockery. And it also ends when this stuff starts failing miserably. And that's coming around the corner. The problem is they have too many built-in excuses with the COOF right now and the Delta Epsilon Omega variant, the variant. I went to see Free Guy last night with the family Nerdrotic. I thought it was all right. I thought it was a little long, but Ryan Reynolds was good in it. It was entertaining. I walked out of there. I laughed, but my kid loved it. The only problem I had with it is Pokemon was in it. And I'm like, hey, that's that biatch who took my boy It's a Gundam's sponsors away. Like, what the hell? And she was in it twice. She was in it twice. Yeah, a Ninja was in it, and I didn't recognize any of the other Twitch streamers. My son did, and there was like 4 or 5 Twitch streamers in that. That was weird. That was surreal. My oldest son, who codes, was, he was a bit of a snob about it. He's like, well, they got some of the coding vernacular wrong. That's my oldest son, though. He will find something wrong with something. But Nerdrotic Jr. loved it, with apologies to It's a Gundam. And as It's a Gundam posted yesterday on Twitter, he'll probably be in the sequel, which I think I would definitely watch it. But why is it doing well as opposed to the other? Well, I think the Suicide Squad being released on HBO Max and being rated R hurt it. I also think James Gunn's reputation hurt it, whether it's fair or not. That's an argument for another day. The one thing you never hear the Hollywood creatives or the comic book creatives bring up is the giant elephant in the room of the alienating half your audience. Definitely factors into lower box office receipts and lower comic book sales. What percentage? I don't know, because both industries have their problems. the built-in excuse with the coof with film, but there's more built-in problems with the comic book industry. And the last thing they needed was to alienate customers, having Gail Simone come out and say, I'm paraphrasing what she said, is basically, we could afford to lose some white customers. No, you can't. You can't afford to lose any. And it's great for her to make that decision for comic book shops or anybody who sells or online retailers. It's very nice of her to make that decision. Now, the theaters still have some leverage because Hollywood needs those billions rolling in from these blockbusters, because that is all factored into their big pie for streaming services. Now, they're able to greenlight, and I've talked about this before, they're able to greenlight a ton of shit because they have investor money right now when it comes to the streaming wars. Well, when it's all said and done, Jason Blum has said this, the producer, and he's right. And I was saying this a couple of years ago, and a lot of other people were. There's going to be 3 or 4 main ones that are left. There'll be some little ones, but they're not really going to factor in. And these studios are going to have to bend the knee. I don't know which one. They're either going to have to sell or work with the streamers that are successful. So I think Sony's even angling to do that. Or they can farm out certain things to certain streaming services. They have a lot of options aside from having their own streaming service. There's a day, sure, it will be the main driver for all of their income. Once, like Paramount Plus is DOA because Star Trek, when CBS All Access started, was still available on Netflix, right? So they didn't have exclusivity to their own content, to the main thing. And that's what kills them up front. And that's why they have to make new stuff. That's why Disney went out and bought Marvel and Star Wars and then immediately fucked them up. Fucking Star Wars. I saw that anime trailer the other day. I think it was on a real BBC, and I didn't care. It doesn't move the needle for me at all. And that's the brand. The brand is just so dead to me. And I have black-pilled Star Wars. I know there's the rumor out there with Kathleen Kennedy being re-signed. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Re-signer, figurehead, outside of like straight up being humiliated like Gina Carano was, doesn't change a thing for me. I hear a lot of things, but I don't see it. So Disney owns Marvel and Lucasfilm, obviously. Now, Lucasfilm and Marvel are autonomous to a point. They're able to run by themselves, and Disney has done that. When they buy a company, they let it run itself for a few years, and then they start slowly getting involved, a la Pixar. But that company cannot betray the underlying message of the entire company. And the underlying message of Disney is, well, they tried to put CRT training on their employees until they got popped a couple of months ago. And if they didn't get popped, that would have gone through. That's your underlying theme of Disney. And until I see different, I'm not going to believe different. I mean, look at the direction Marvel's going. So it's hard for me to believe that any subsidiary of Disney is going to turn around when I see their biggest subsidiary going in the wrong direction. That Spider-Man trailer that came out made everybody forget about Shang-Chi and the Eternals immediately. I watched it, and it was on somebody's phone, and that was definitely the Spider-Man trailer for sure. Half the stuff wasn't rendered. I don't know when it's going to come out. I don't know. I mean, that was obviously some rough cut. And I don't know if they've done work after that. They have a lot of work to do on it. I don't think they can get it done in 24 hours if that's what they're at right now. But that might be a rough cut from a couple of months ago as far as I know. So I don't know. There are some rumors that it's going to come out tomorrow, tonight, whatever. Yeah. I mean, I'll warn you, there's going to be some spoilers here, but what I could see, I saw, and I warn you, there's going to be some spoilers for a trailer, for a commercial. I saw Pumpkin Bomb. It was animated, so they hadn't rendered that all the way yet. I saw Doctor Strange in a white room that they obviously haven't rendered. And I saw Dr. Octopus at the end. I saw some Electro stuff. I heard Lizard was in it. Somebody told me, and they gave me the timestamp, and maybe I saw it. I don't know. I saw some pixels. I can't say. I didn't see Toby. I didn't see Andrew. As far as the trailer, it was cooler than Shang-Chi and Eternals for sure. But here's the problem with Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Spider-Boy at all. I didn't mind Tom Holland in Civil War, but when they made him basically a sidekick to Iron Man, that betrays everything Spider-Man is in the comics. Everything. I know this is a separate universe. I know this is the MCU. But you would think the most disappointing thing of all is Marvel arguably made the least accurate Spider-Man. A lot of people will argue that this is teenage Spider-Man. Well, teenage Spider-Man was a teenager for a very, very, very small percentage of the comic books. He's been an adult for the vast majority of it. And yeah, the movie looked fine. I don't like what caused the what breaks them through to the multiverse. I don't like, and they show it to you in the trailer. Everybody knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man, like at the end of, oh God, I can't even remember the name of the sequel now. It was so forgettable. Doesn't matter. And I thought he would be in an alternate world there. He's not. So he's in the MCU. I don't know what that designation is. I know Marvel Comics is 616. We'll just call it the MCU designation. And he asks Doctor Strange to do a spell to make everybody forget. And obviously that's what causes all the trouble. Now it's probably going to be connected to female Loki killing Kang and busting open the multiverse. It's probably directly related to that. So I'm guessing Doctor Strange's spell was based on all of the events prior to Loki, and he wasn't aware of the events of Loki, and that's what busted everything open. And yeah, it could be fun. It could be fun, but they're like, and maybe this is what they need to do. They need to give the fans a lot of fan service. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think people just need to see a fun movie that's not filled with a bunch of identity politics and intersectional feminism. I don't like much of the cast in No Way Home as far as like the Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is, Mary Jane's pretty important to Spider-Man. Gwen Stacy's pretty important to Spider-Man if they're going to bring her in. Ned Leeds, I'm fine with that, but I can't see him becoming the Hobgoblin anytime soon. But yeah, it's they're going to gimmicks now, and we've talked about this before. Like we're looking forward to a Flash movie for Batman, not for Flash. And this is the first solo Flash movie. Probably because it's Ezra Miller is a terrible Flash. And it would take Michael Keaton as Batman being in that movie for me to even see it. Ben Affleck's going to be in that too, and that's cool. I'm down with that. But yeah, they're resorting to gimmicks, and that's great. But they're going to have to reset everything at some point. They did announce Captain America 4. Good luck with that. That's all I got to say. I don't know what Marvel's thinking. All they have to do is recast these characters or bring in. So, I mean, they're jumping everything to get to the all new, all different. And a lot of us were warning this was going to happen. The only reason they introduced these characters in the first place and forced them through was so they can introduce them in the films. Comic sales had nothing to do with it. It was only to say, hey, we got these from the Marvel Comics. Doesn't matter if anybody actually read them or not. We put them in the comic books. And Marvel's still a strong enough brand where people are just going to go and see this. And, with the Shang-Chi stuff, all the critics are just, I'm sensing a little bit of overpraise going on, a lot like Black Panther. I'm certain this has everything to do with identity politics. I was looking at it. I was watching an interview with the star of Shang-Chi, Simu Liu. His shirt said, phenomenally Asian. And that's great that he feels that way. I'm sure that it wasn't planned by his representation to wear that shirt. He tried to make a comment by Bob Chapek, racial, when he said, when Bob Chapek said, this is going to be an interesting experiment with the 45-day window. Yeah, it is. Critical Drinker did a video today. I mentioned it in a couple videos. I think if Marvel's going to have a flop, it's going to be with Shang-Chi. I think the Eternals is going to be a massive flop internationally, especially since it's not going to be in China. That one's not going to be in China for sure. I think they're trying to get Shang-Chi into China, and there's probably a possibility it'll get there, but I don't think it's going to play well there. It's going to look like pandering, and they're probably not going to like it. They tend not to like pandering. Nobody does, except for fucking Twitter. I have to do my dual-handed here. Mice. What's your take on Netflix's Punisher? Asks Kane Gale for £1.79 on a super chat. I like the first. I loved Daredevil season 2. I think Daredevil season 1 and 2 are the best things Marvel has produced live action ever. That's how I feel about those. Daredevil happens to be my favorite Marvel character. And I think I liked Punisher season 1 as well. I thought it was really good. I thought season 2 was garbage, absolute garbage. It really felt like Netflix was sabotaging after season 2, or I don't know if Netflix is capable of making season 2s. Have you noticed? I'm sure you have. They don't have a lot of series that go very far. Even their biggest one, Stranger Things, wasn't very good. But I think phenomenal in Daredevil season 2, the prison scene. Holy shit. Just talking about it makes me want to watch it again. And I'm very glad I bought the physical media of that, because then I don't have to go to Netflix and use somebody else's password, because I don't subscribe to the Cuties network. DJ Sick Rick for $2 says MCU Spider-Man is Morty from Rick and Morty. Yep. My good friend Mahler and Rags, they both love the MCU Spider-Man, and we disagree on that. But they're not comic fans, so they're seeing this purely from an MCU perspective, so I can get that. But source material does matter. It does. When you are adapting a character, especially when you're the company who owns the character, I do think it's that company's responsibility to get that character right. But it's Disney, not Marvel. I think the MCU, I think it would have been handled differently if Disney wasn't in the picture, if they've gotten Spider-Man back. Now, there is a rumor out there, but I don't know. I mean, it's a rumor, so fucking rumors. Giant Freaking Robot said that Disney is interested in buying Spider-Man from Sony. I'm sure they are. Sony will never sell Spider-Man. They would be stupid to sell Spider-Man. And honestly, I think Sony might do a better job. I think it's the Marvel influence that brought in the Tom Holland. As simple as Venom was, and it was a simple movie. They shot that thing in 30 days. 30 freaking days. I didn't hate it. I mean, it's not memorable. I watched it once, completely forgot it. I like Tom Hardy as an actor. And yeah, I'm going to watch Venom versus Carnage. Fuck yeah, I'm going to watch it. But it didn't have fucking the Disney identity politics in it. Now, there's a point. Now, that is a plus for me with the movie. It doesn't make it great, right? Or good. Movies can still suck, even if they're free of identity politics, obviously. Cancel Netflix, cancel Disney Plus. Life is good. Says Commandant VHS for $2. There you go. Disney Plus is absolute garbage. HBO Max, not the best platform, but I could recommend it. There's enough on there, despite the stupid warnings, which is only for one movie, and it was probably because they were forced to do it, but whatever. Spawn, the animated series, is on HBO Max. That is great. Oh, that is so great. And there's there's the good Doctor Who on it too, if you want to watch that. Unfortunately, you have to see that logo, that damn logo. Rumor Disney wants to buy Sony's Spider-Man. Your thoughts? Says Sean the Movie Man 71 for, or ask Sean the Movie Man 71 for $2. I don't think Sony would sell Spider-Man. Not in a million years. And it would have to be for so much. I think, if Disney, Marvel, they need to have Spider-Man back. I mean, that's like, they're not whole without Spider-Man. They're not whole without the Hulk, and they don't own all the Hulk either. Universal owns a part of that, and it's going to be a problem. Right now, they're working together. That's not going to last forever, and it's going to be a massive problem. You can already see Sony building their own universe. So while they're, all buddy publicly, like in broad daylight, they're building their own Spider-Verse, and they're getting ready for it as the contingency. So they're ready to keep Spider-Man, and Marvel ain't Marvel without Spider-Man. I'd be like DC not owning Batman. It's ridiculous. And I just don't know. Maybe I think it'd be more realistic. No, probably not. If Disney bought Sony, because what does Sony have outside of Spider-Man? Raj H, thank you for the Canadian $1.99. I appreciate it. The thumbs up. Phoenix Tangent for $5. Hail, Gary. I am absolutely pumped for Eric July's Rippaverse. I am looking forward to it coming out and may well get 2 copies of his first book. I will. I will give him all the free advertising. I mean, whatever reach I have, as he wants. Eric's a good dude. And I think he will make, he loves comic books as much as I do. I mean, it's my first love, my only love. And it sucks not going to a comic shop and getting my weeklies, did it for years and years and, passed them out for years and years. It sucks. But if all goes according to plan, maybe I'll sell some of the Rippaverse in my shop. Joey Bryant for $20. Thank you. Here's a better what if. What if Peter Quill gets saved from Yondu and gets adopted by Wakanda and becomes the Black Panther? Yep. There was a good story in there. I'm sure there was a good story, but the problem is Disney and Hollywood is so afraid to write characters of color using their fucking language and women right now that women have to act like misogynist men and all other characters are just soulful saints, and it makes for just boring storytelling. It's absolutely boring. And when you do something, I know it's a simple cartoon, but when you're going to go and say, well, Thanos was talked out of the snap, and then you don't even tell us the argument. You don't even tell us the actual argument because you can't come up with one. And because it's tell, not show, which is the worst storytelling there is. And that's what we're sitting through right now. But I don't think anybody's watching What If. Az went over the Google Trends last week, and it was a flat line. I thought it was we were looking at the graph, and I thought it was the bottom line of the graph, but it was actually the what if line, meaning nobody cares about it right now. Andrew Lundell for $5 says, everything woke turns to shit. Donald J. Trump. Yeah, that's an epic quote, by the way. I don't care who said it, but it's true. It's not like we haven't been saying that here for years, but it's true. It is absolutely true. Look at Star Wars. Look at Star Trek. Look at Marvel. Look at DC Comics. Are any of them doing well right now? No. All I hear is excuses, moving goalposts, rationalization. Feels like tide's turning. It really does. And it feels pretty good. Now, do we survive? I don't know. I think we will. Judicon says for $5, Hail Gary, everything woke turns to shit. President Trump. Isn't it? I think that is refreshing. Is like, I am sick to fucking death of political speak. I am so tired of like knowing that, okay, we're going to lie to you. Everybody knows you're lying, but we're going to play this fucking dog and pony show. Like a couple weeks back, it's no different than any other time, but it fucking pissed me off when somebody asked the administration's press secretary, hey, if you got the jab, why do you need to wear a mask? And she wouldn't answer the question. She wouldn't even answer with, I don't know. She said, it's very important that everybody gets vaccinated. And the reporter's like, okay, I know, but why do you need to still wear a mask if you got the jab? It's really important that everybody gets the jab. Okay, but why do we need to wear a mask if we've already got the jab? And she answered again. And it's like, fuck, why are we putting up with this shit? And we have, and it's listen, I'm just as guilty as anybody else. Okay. I'm not saying, I'm not judging too harshly here, but a little bit. Our comfort has come back to bite us in the ass. And it's up to us. It's up to me. I'll use my I statements here. I said this in my California video. It's going to be in my next California video. Wherever I go, I'm going to know who the fucking dog catcher is. And I'm going to know where the dog catcher goes to fucking eat. I'm going to know everything about every elected official in my realm. And I'm going to show up. I'm going to vote. I'm going to read, when I buy a house, when I buy a car, I read the contracts. Fucking cover to finish. I read that shit. And I'm going to do this, the same with the election. Yeah, it's boring. And they purposefully make these things confusing as hell. The election books get thicker. I very conveniently got my recall ballot in the mail the other day. And I plan to vote to recall Gavin Newsom. My wife plans to vote to recall Gavin Newsom. A vote to keep Gavin Newsom is a vote for another lockdown. A vote for more businesses being shut down, small businesses. And you know who got affected the most? Female-owned businesses, Black-owned businesses, Latino-owned businesses, Asian-owned businesses. Asian-owned businesses got decimated in San Francisco. Stop the Asian hate, London breed. And do I think I don't think Larry Elder is going to win. I hope he does. I want him to. I'm going to vote for him if the recall happens. I just think another Newsom will get plugged in. But I will be happy to get a metaphorical scalp. A metaphorical scalp. YouTube. Because you know what? Like my wife losing her business, and I'm not going to apologize for bringing this up. It's kind of a fucking big deal. Watching my wife lose her dream. What's great though? What's great is watching her be fucking strong and get through it and turn the page and move on and learn from it. And, she's invigorated and, It's going to be great to see what she does next. And hey, thanks to you guys. You guys help us get through it. It sucks that there's a lot of families out there who didn't have people to help them get through it. They had no voice at all. The media wasn't covering it at all. But Gavin Newsom's going to give us all $600. Well, not me, but he's going to give most everyone $600. Well, no, I think we will get it now. Yeah, I think we will get it. But I don't want it. I think most of us would have rather worked for our money and not, for one, I mentioned this on Twitter yesterday. I don't think he's going to get recalled. I think he's offered to pay everybody's rent. And he's offered $600. There's people who actually think getting their own money back is a stimulus. No, how about not taxing us in the first place? That's a stimulus. Taxation is theft. But thank you for giving us some of our own money back. Woo! SJ Shady 0169 for $5 says, "Hey, Gary, UNDC doing exozones? Just curious." Yeah, we'll do another one soon. I actually did a bunch of research for one. I don't know how this month is going to be really iffy if I can do Monday nooners. It's not looking good. Definitely on Wednesday, but I don't think once I get moved and settled, there will be a very strict live stream schedule. It'll damn near be every day once I get into the studio and we're done with the moving process. But right now things are in transition, shall we say? Transition, and it's all good news. But it looks like we'll be in Texas sooner than later, and I'm very excited about that. But yeah, I'd say in the next couple weeks, for sure. Hey Gary, happy late birthday! Thank you. Thanks for all the entertainment you provide. And did you see the video of the dinner party the elites were having? None of them had masks, but the servers had to. Chris for $10. Haven't seen that, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Rules for thee and not for me. But this is the biggest problem we have in our country is, people just rooting for Gavin Newsom because he's got a D next to his name. This guy, yeah, the D is for douchebag. The guy slept with his best friend's wife, his campaign manager, his best friend's wife. When he was the San Francisco mayor, he vacationed half the time. He was rarely there. He's a horrible mayor. Hey, I got this was cool. Hey, I'm going to show this. I'm a little proud of this. Superman retweeted me. Where am I going to find it though? Dean Cain retweeted me when I don't know. I saw something that set me off about. I saw some guy going, "Tell me if you voted no for the recall, and I'll totally retweet you." Oh, here it was. It was Cernovich put up thoughts, and it's an interview with Gavin Newsom making excuses for taking vacation all the time and stuff. And I responded with, "Crap mayor, garbage governor, great chairman, perfect douchebag." And then Dean Cain retweeted it. I gotta find that though. Where is it? There he is. That was cool as hell. He is obviously voting for Larry Elder, which is good. Oh, he tweets a lot. Give me just a second here. That's good. I guess it will be easier to find it in here. There it is. I mean, the build-ups, it's not even worth it now, but what the hell? There we go. So that was cool. And I was just pointing out, I made this picture, by the way. I'm very proud of it. California Psycho. And I was pointing out that, our mayor did indeed, when he was married to Kimberly Guilfoyle, by the way, my wife used to do her hair, from Fox News, who is now, I believe, Donald Trump Jr.'s girlfriend. She was married to Gavin Newsom, and he cheated on her with his campaign manager's wife. But that seemed, the whole Me Too thing seemed to absolutely miss all of that. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? Crunchyroll's Pirate Princess has a new story we've never seen before. The girl is the key to everything. Hollywood can't even rip off anime, says Philip A. Demick for $5. They'll try. They'll try. I mean, I haven't seen enough girl who was the key to everything stories. I mean, hell, that's the entire story of Picard. The Grizzly for $10 says, "Hail, Gary, I have a new term for fans. Rather than fans, call us customers." Yeah. Fans are subservient as a term in origins. Customers implies equality between business contracts. Be a customer. Yeah. That's why I don't like the term consumer at all. I see at the core of all the hashtags was a customer movement. The customers of video games didn't like that their video games were being infiltrated with identity politics. Now, of course, that was under the premise with Gamergate that there was collusion in the media, and there was Zoe Quinn, and there was all that stuff. But at the heart of it was, don't fuck up our video games. Don't come into our... I mean, like, even Free Guy, while being a little accurate, was a little harsh on the gamer, and they did the whole, like, dude in his basement thing, and, like, yeah, it exists, but it's, like, it's tired, and that's still how all Hollywood sees the gamer, but that's another video for another day, or another topic for another day. And what was at the core of either, Comicsgate or the Fandom Menace or whatever, or RIP Doctor Who, was don't fuck with our thing. Don't fuck with our thing that we, helped build, that we love to buy. We love to buy the action figures, the comics. We love to buy the physical media, the posters, the magazines, the books, the comics. These were things that we enjoyed, and we have no problem with new people coming in as long as they respect the lore, respect the source material. But that's not what's happening here. So the gatekeeping is absolutely a good thing when it comes to SJWs, imposters, posers coming in who want to come in and destroy it. Now, if you respect the lore, I don't care what you are. If you want to learn, nerds are some of the most sharing people out there. That's the first great trait of a nerd is they will tell you what they love. You say the word anime or manga, and you will get 10 suggestions within the next 2 minutes. That's people sharing what they love. That's a good thing. But no, we have people coming in going, everything that came before I got here is problematic. Jodie Whittaker coming in and saying Doctor Who was a practice in the male gaze was the single most disrespectful thing to say to the fans, and she didn't give a fuck. And that's why she was an absolute failure. She didn't try. She thought she could just show up because she didn't respect it. And she had no idea that this was going to be her best job, her hardest job, and it could be her last. Good luck guest starring in sitcoms, sweetheart. Because she ain't that talented. And we got the same thing with, we were discussing this with Mahler and Az about Batwoman. Javisha Leslie came in and started talking about being a lesbian and the representation. Didn't talk about Batwoman or the comics or anything. But the comic fans and source material fans, we have been left behind a long time ago. We have outlived our usefulness because there is a lot more MCU fans than there ever were comic fans. 100 to 200,000 comic book readers, regular comic book readers in the United States of America. In a country of 333 million people, probably more like 375 million people, but let's just say documented 333 million people. And that number's going up every day. Yep. So gatekeeping good. It's just good. I said that in my Lord of the Rings video. Absolutely. Gatekeep the fuck out of Lord of the Rings. When you're coming in and you're projecting stuff that just doesn't even exist, if you want to do it in your own time with your own fan fiction, go ahead. But when we have the Tolkien Society doing it to justify Amazon's changes to the lore, and then they'll go, well, the Tolkien Society agrees with us. Hale, yes, gyms are essential. How about a mandate that people maintain a 25 BMI? I'm not serious. That would also infringe on liberty, but makes as much sense. Yes, no infringing on liberty. How about we all make the decision on our own to take care of ourselves? I think that's good. I'll rely on you as an adult to make that decision. What's up? Dan Fraga says, Fraga, boom. He says, hey, brother Gary, how's it going, Dan Fraga? That's a good guy. Very talented guy. Very talented guy. It's so surreal talking to people like whose comics I read when I was younger, when I was a youngin'. It's cool. It's cool as hell. Eric K, who is not supposed to be super chatting, the Mensch Wrench for $5 says, I thought you own 3 high schools and you were kicked out of 3 comic shops. Well, no, I've never been kicked out of a comic shop. Never. Those are sacred ground. The comic shop is sacred ground. Even if the owner is a douche, I still treat it as sacred ground. On the donation side, we have Jester of Roanoke for $1. He says, how much you want to bet, given we see Doctor Strange and he seems to be the one who accidentally sends Spider-Boy into the multiverse, that the strong female Scarlet Witch has to come in and fix the big dumb male's mistake. That is the impression that I got, Jester of Roanoke. If you're even using even a tiny bit of One More Day as your inspiration, which that's the first thing I thought of when I saw this trailer was One More Day. No, there's no Mephisto. But Spider-Man does go to Mephisto to make a deal. It's for Aunt May. It's for different circumstances. But if that's the first thing I think of, that's bad. That's bad. One More Day is bad. And yes, it's written by Michael J. Straczynski. But I think he was just being a team player for Joe Quesada. But it was, you want to talk about something that broke a character. That is what broke Spider-Man in the comics. And I don't believe he has ever recovered. Jesse H for $1. Thank you for everything. You are welcome, Jesse H. I appreciate it. So Gina Carano was canceled for putting up I can't remember where it was. I don't know if it was on Instagram or TikTok or it wasn't Twitter. Essentially, it said, and she was just putting up somebody else's post, but it said the Yazis in Yahtzee, Germany were able to get away with what they were able to get away with the public through fear. It was easy because they made a villain. So the public was doing their work for them. Turning people in, turning in their neighbors' children were doing it too. It was horrific, and it was through fear. Getting the citizenry to turn on each other. Well, remember, of course, she was heavily criticized for using a Yahtzee Germany analogy, although the leftists have been using it for years against Donald Trump, and it's perfectly okay there. So Gina, of course, gets fired. Knee-jerk reaction. I know there's been a lot of, this person had nothing to do with it. They all signed off on it. Bob Chapek had to sign off on her getting fired. Kathleen Kennedy had to sign off on her getting fired. Bob Iger had to sign off on her getting fired. Everybody signed off on it that was in charge. They had to, okay? So to say that there's somebody who still wanted her around, then she'd still be there, okay? Jon Favreau might have been against it. I don't know. Haven't heard a peep out of him. Haven't heard a peep. So until I see something, I can only go off of the actions of Disney, which was they humiliated Gina Carano, and then after that called her posts abhorrent, called her behavior essentially abhorrent on her way out the door, tried to besmirch her name and blackball her, and she's essentially blackballed from Hollywood. Now, I don't think forever. I think some studio will be brave enough to hire her. I think they'd be smart to do that. I think she'd bring a lot of people to the theater. Daily Wire was smart enough to let her produce her own work, which she's doing right now, by the way. And I will talk about that on Wednesday. I will talk about what project she's doing and stuff. Or maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow on Real BBC. But everything we're seeing in Australia now, which is they killed fucking rescue dogs. Rescue dogs that might have the coof. Monsters. Fucking monsters. Now, they are just as much monsters for forcing kids to get the jab. I'm sure everybody saw that video where that kid was just crawling to get away. What the fuck have we become? And it's not like there haven't been a lot of people out there warning this would happen, including Gina Carano. This isn't again, I'm not a doctor, but last time I checked, the coof isn't the Spanish flu. And we don't need to be killing dogs. And they were afraid that people would rescue the dog. I mean, fucking stop. It was nice to see people fighting back against that, though, Australia. I know there's a lot of you out there that are fighting back against it, and good for you. There's a lot of people who subscribe to this channel from Australia through Doctor Who and other things. Good for you. Civil disobedience is perfectly okay, I think. There's only so much I can say, but, like Eric July has been talking about this for a long time. Back when this thing started, I was worried that we'd be right here where we are, and here fucking we are. So as time goes on and the world figures out that the coof ain't going anywhere, there is going to be no cure for it that I know of. And we're just going to have to live with it. It's still going to be up to us to decide what we do with our freedom. See, mine is not negotiable. It's not. But it seems like a lot of people want to make that decision for me and for you. Fuck no. Fuck no. Good luck with that. I am outnumbered here in California. I don't like running from a fight when it comes to something that directly involves me and my family here in the state. But like it is just too much of an uphill battle. I can't see California turning around unless some miracle fucking happens. And Razorfist did a great video on this, talking about we need electoral elections here in California. That would be the only way things change, and they're not gonna. So again, I'm going to Texas. I promise not to vote like a Californian. Don't worry, I never did. But a lot of us might, which sucks. Dolified for $4.99 says, spoilers in that trailer. Do you think it was Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock defending Peter Parker in that one scene? Bounding has an article on the leak. Yeah, we'll go to that article in a second. I couldn't tell. I would love to see if Charlie Cox is going to come back as Daredevil. He's got to get over the hating the costume thing, because I don't want to see Daredevil in his sweats. I want to see Daredevil in his fucking costume. I like that costume. I thought it was good. Don't sign up to become a superhero and then hate the fucking costume later. Thank you, Dolified. Gentle on James for $2 says, Gary, do you like Todd McFarlane's Spider-Mans? Yes, I do. I like pretty much everything Todd McFarlane. Big fan of his. Incognitious Jones for $5 says, there's both a right way and a wrong way to gatekeep. We need to stay on the right way. Hashtag fellowship for life. SJ double you shall not pass. I think when it comes to if you're there to disrupt, destroy, and you ain't about it, you're there just to so there's the poser, there's the imposter, the fraud. And it's different on an individual basis. But if you're there to, for example, Lord of the Rings, if you say you were a fan before and then you took your women's studies class and then you're no longer a fan because you see all the problem with the patriarchy, that ain't going to change because J.R.R. Tolkien is dead. So his story is written. There is nothing to add. There is nothing to change. It is what it is. And you can be an adult and see it for what it is, as just a story, a make-believe story. But if you're that person who took the gender studies or women's studies class, and all of a sudden you start having problems with everything because you're impressionable and you let a couple of courses change your worldview, and all of a sudden you're having problems with the thing you enjoy, so you need to change it for you. Well, it's selfish for one, and no, nobody wants you around. If you want to write your own, waste your time on your own fan fiction, go right ahead. But when they start going in and reinterpreting it, and this fan fiction bullshit starts becoming the adaptation, no, fuck no. And I draw the line in the sand with Lord of the Rings. Fuck no. So, another example is everything I talk about on this channel, I give a shit about. Even with my He-Man video, I was upfront and said, I'm not a He-Man fan. So I can't possibly know how. I wasn't pissed about what happened to He-Man. I saw what happened, and it's the same thing that's happening with everything else, but I haven't been a fan of He-Man. So I'm not going to feel the same way as an actual He-Man fan. And I wouldn't pretend I was. But I can definitely see what Kevin Smith, and that's what I centered it around, is, I've followed Kevin Smith for a long, long time, and I know how he got his cred. I know why he's working in Hollywood. It's because he is supposed to be the nerd of the people. Well, he hasn't been in a long time. Kevin Smith is a Hollywood creative now, and he is no longer one of us. Hasn't been for a long, long time, but he's been using that because he doesn't really have a ton of talent. He's very good at telling the anecdotal story. His comic book writing is decent. It's good. As a matter of fact, he's written a very good Daredevil story. And I think that's where that's where he does his best work. As far as filmmaking, outside of Jay and Silent Bob stuff and Clerks, no. I think he had his time in the 90s, and I like some of his stuff. I did. I enjoyed Dogma and Chasing Amy, and my favorite is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I think that's his best work, in my opinion. It was hilarious. But it's been a long time, and he's just a Hollywood douche now. That's what I centered my video around, right? I'm not going to sit there and get into He-Man lore and pretend I'm a fan and be outraged about the He-Man thing, other than from the fan's perspective. For the most part, I choose my battles, and it's something that actually I care about. So when I make a Lord of the Rings video, I give a shit. I'm not just there to fill time. I'm not making Star Wars videos because I don't care. I just don't care. Come and get me when something fucking happens. So I know there's the Mikey Sutton rumor out there, and I don't know anything about Mikey Sutton. I've seen him on Midnight's Edge. Well, I haven't seen him. I've heard him on Midnight's Edge a couple of times. Wasn't aware of the guy. I guess he does rumors on Patreon or something like that, and that's your game. Fucking rock on. I think here is my first impression of the rumor is Kathleen Kennedy's gonna resign. Now I believe she is. But I've believed that for a long time. And my belief is based on how Disney has acted over the last year. They have shown no interest in changing at all, in my opinion. I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I will be very happy to report that to you. That's just what I believe based on nothing but what I've seen. But his rumor came out on the 1-year anniversary of his channel or something like that. And I'm like, that's very interestingly timed. That's just my first thought. So I don't know. We'll see. If you go back and look at the article where Kathleen Kennedy was re-signed for 3 years back in 2018, it says at the end of the first or second paragraph, I believe, she is signed through 2021, meaning through the end of this year. As a matter of fact, I could probably pull it up and show you. Yep, there it is right there. Oh, it's the first paragraph. I've showed you guys this before. Right there. Has signed a 3-year extension that will keep her with the company through 2021. There you go. Let's go to that Spider-Man leak stuff. Leaked Spider-Man No Way Home trailer appears to confirm Marvel Multiverse crossover. After a litany of rumors, casting, speculation, fan hype, it looks like we finally have a skeletal patchwork of what the teaser trailer for the upcoming Spider-Man No Way Home could possibly look like. By the way, I have been asked, do I think this was a deliberate leak by Sony? Yes. Like I said, they're all friends. They're all frenzy, but they're not. They're not. I promise you, Kevin Feige was screaming at Tom Rothman. Tom Rothman might not have had anything to do with this. But Amy Pascal, she's a duplicitous little Hollywood producer. And maybe, just maybe, they thought the 2 other Marvel movies were getting a little too much attention. So they wanted to maybe whip their dick out to Disney and go, you know what? We have the biggest Marvel movie of the year. In the year we're getting the most Marvel we're ever going to get, Sony is going to have the biggest movie. And this is a Sony movie. Yes, in classic Marvel fashion, the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer has apparently leaked online, albeit a second-hand potato quality recording featuring a heavy amount of unedited CGI. As of the writing, amidst a number of Sony takedowns, at least one user has the trailer still up. I have a copy of it, by the way. I screen grabbed that thing immediately, and I'm sure most of you do too. If you have been following any of the, but I'm not going to show it here. I don't need a strike. Any of the rumored leaks for this movie over the past year, you're likely up to snuff on many casting rumors surrounding which characters are poised to show up in the film, which have hinted at reappearances by such characters as Jamie Foxx's Electro, Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus, and Matt Murdock, Daredevil. The trailer opens up on Peter, and I'm not calling her MJ. No. Zendaya. sitting on top of a rooftop, pondering the events seen in the conclusion of Spider-Man Far From Home. Yeah, where Spider-Man's secret identity was made public by Mysterio through a news broadcast hosted by Alex Jones type J. Jonah Jameson, with J.K. Simmons reprising his role from the earlier Sam Raimi films. There's even a scene in the interrogation room where Peter has to plead his innocence that he didn't kill Mysterio, wherein it appears that we get a shot of what looks like someone with a rose-tinted glasses and a suit giving Parker the rundown of the events of the last film and how the drones were his to control. While speculation has swirled that Charlie Cox is set to show up in the film as Peter's defense lawyer, with the quality of the video, it's unclear if this is, in fact, Matt Murdock. Yeah, I don't know. Looks like he's wearing a mask. We then get a montage. I mean, I have no idea what that image is that I'm putting across the screen, by the way. We got a montage of scenes showing both Spider-Man walking and Peter walking through various crowds of a large people, with everyone looking at him. Yep. Eventually, Parker comes up with a solution. Go to Doctor Strange. In the Sanctum Sanctorum, Peter asks the Sorcerer Supreme. Nope. Oh, gotta correct you there. He is not the Sorcerer Supreme. Wanda Maximoff is much better. Get it right. To make the world forget that he and Spider-Man are one and the same, as Strange starts to conjure a spell that would make everyone lose their memory of Spider-Man's secret identity, Peter begins to raise some objections, not wanting his closest friend and family to forget his secret. Strange proceeds to tell Peter to pipe down, and after some swirling lights dance around the room, the deed is done. Can you guys see that? Sorry. My bad. That's better. Oh, shit. Now you can't see the text. Hang on. That's better. However, the trailer next reveals shows that there are consequences for Peter's messing with the current reality. In a flurry of images, we see Spider-Man on a train facing off against an unknown character who uses large parts of the environment to encapsulate both Peter and himself in a closed space. The train then flies off the rails and seemingly into the sky. Hopefully, more finished version of this scene will give us clarity as to what exactly we're seeing. Yeah, nobody could tell. And then there was that. That's Doctor Strange. We next see Strange knocking Spider-Man out of his physical body, much like the Ancient One did to him back in the first Doctor Strange film, before being presented with flashes of Spider-Man using the Iron Spider suit's arm, a cacophony of lasers and explosions, and Strange uttering to Peter, "Be careful what you wish for, Parker." After more explosions, a new villain finally steps up to face off against the wall crawler, or more accurately, an old one. The last shot of the trailer reveals none other than Alfred Molina, who portrayed Dr. Octopus in the 2004 Spider-Man 2, one of the greatest superhero movies ever made. Don't really care what some YouTuber says or anybody else. It's one of the greatest superhero movies ever made. Probably the second best superhero movie ever made. Emerging from a flurry of dust and debris, he smirks, saying, "Hello, Peter," before striking a battle-ready pose. Alfred Molina was a great Dr. Octopus, by the way. Fantastic. While there is some question to the legitimacy of this trailer, I guess they could have faked the end, but not this shit. Nah. I mean, I guess I could be wrong. It looked pretty real to me. Whether there is some question of the legitimacy of this trailer, the footage and dialogue seem to be legitimate, but the unfinished CGI gives reason to pause. Every video uploaded thus far has taken down by Sony as the studio attempts to mass remove any trace of the leak from the web. Well, then that sounds pretty legitimate to me if they're taking it down. It excited a lot of people. A lot of people liked the trailer. And fuck yeah. I don't know if you all remember, because I know you all listen to every second of all my live streams. I said at the beginning of the coof, I said Hollywood is going to need to deliver a lot of fan service. And one of the things they can do is, well, they released the Snyder Cut, and I think that was pretty fucking successful. Or make a Spider-Man 4 directed by Sam Raimi. That would make all the money. Do a Dark Knight Returns with Michael Keaton. Don't have Burton direct it, though. No. Anybody else but Burton. Well, not anybody else, but somebody else. Do something that is just a slam dunk. And Hollywood, I mean, Henry Cavill is one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. They had him locked down for Superman, and they don't want to make it. And I think the time is right. I really do. But now I think it's past. I think Warner Brothers' reputation with superhero movies, even if they come out with a good one, is toast. Any goodwill they got from the Joker is gone. Fucking gone. Because they did just release a very good movie, I thought. I thought The Suicide Squad was a very good movie. Didn't do well at all. Oh, look at that. Jesse Smollett's sister is going to be back as Black Canary. That'll bring them to the theaters. That'll fill the seats. I'm not a fan of that costume, by the way. Spider-Man has the most iconic costume, period. Why are you fucking with it? Oh, because we need to sell toys. You'll still sell toys. You'll still sell fucking toys. Just, Jesus. I don't know. I got a lot of people saying, I don't give a fuck about this Spider-Man. I did see some people saying they liked it. It certainly was better than fucking Shang-Chi and the Eternals. I'll say that. It'll be great seeing Toby back. Seeing Andrew Garfield, that'd be okay too. I don't have a problem with it. They weren't very good, especially Spider-Man. The Amazing Spider-Man is shit. It's total fucking shit. Beginning to end shit. Alex Kurtzman shit. Seeing Daredevil come back, no. So Daredevil fans, and I know there's a lot of you out there, Daredevil season 1 and 2 were fucking magic, and there's no way Disney could ever produce something like that. Kingpin chops a guy's head off with a car door. Do you think Disney is going to make something like that? But that's Daredevil. See, Daredevil is adult. It's, older teenager to adult superhero. It is not, it is, kind of like the Vertigo age range for DC. It is not a kid superhero. He's a street level, violent as fuck superhero. Not PG-13. It's just not. And that's where, again, Warner Brothers has it all over Marvel with that stuff, and they just can't put it together because they don't. And the window is closing. I think it's interesting that Free Guy did well over superhero movies. And the best performing movies haven't been superhero movies. They've been, Fast 9, King Kong, Free Guy. But the superhero movies haven't been doing well. One of them was filled with identity politics, and that's why. People are sick to death of that shit. Let me get to that. There we go. We have a $100 super chat from K-Biz. Says, rest in peace, Star Wars. We tried our best. Disney is the worst of the worst. Unfortunately, their stock did not get hit enough. No, it didn't, to be honest with you. That's where the changes have to come. Oh, well. I'd rather watch Friday Night Tights any day over anything Disney has to offer. Thanks for all the great content. I appreciate that. Thank you. We appreciate that. For the guys. Yeah, and hey, why is my chat box all of a sudden? That thing just comes and goes when it wants. It really does. Yeah, we really appreciated like the event was great. I know everybody couldn't make it, and I know it's hard, like wanting to go to something and you can't, and seeing the thing happen. There's some missing out involved, and that's definitely was in the back of my mind, and wasn't trying to make anybody feel bad. I wanted to give back to you guys, and I'm not done doing that, by the way. Our next meetup will probably be in Texas when I move. We're going to do like a grand opening of the studio, and anybody's welcome, around here from it was a Friday Night Tights has evolved into something it's not like it was planned. It was just like, hey, I'm going to get some of my friends and we're going to do a live stream. And we just slowly put the pieces together, found some really good channels. There's a lot of talented guys there. And again, they're my friends, and it's all the sum of its parts. It's not just one person. It's not about me. It's not about Az. It's not about Jeremy. And it's a good time. We laugh a lot. We laugh a lot. And that's the whole point. Hopefully you guys laugh too. That's keep your mind off things for a little while mocking the freaking she-tarded world that we're living in right now. So thank you, K-Biz. I appreciate it. Yes, Justin Trudeau, the she-covery, and Justin Trudeau's a she-tard. He's But so is our president too. So I can't say much about that. And this Friday, Dan Vask will be premiering our theme song that he's done for us, which he spent a ton of time on. Perry is doing a video for it, which he has spent a ton of time on. Also, making her triumphant return, Chrissy Mayer. Chrissy Mayer will be here. And I'm going to go see her in Vegas on 9/11. The comedians of Compound Media are going to be in Las Vegas on September 10th and 11th at the Plaza Hotel, right? I'm going off complete memory. I got my tickets for Saturday already, and I will be there Saturday. I'm going to go to both shows. So there's a 7 and a 9:30 show. If anybody wants to go, the tickets are $45. I'll be hanging there, and I'm going by myself. So, yeah, if anybody wants to meet there, that's cool. I'm cool with that. But yeah, I think that'll be fun, and we're going to have her back. I can't wait to see Dan Vask's final work on. I've heard the demo. It's fantastic. Dan Vask is a fantastic person, but you all know that, and I really appreciate it. Give me a moment. I need to refresh the screen. Immolation FR for $5. I don't have much to give. Oh, well, you don't have to give anything. I appreciate it, though. Any penny of your hard-earned money is appreciated here. Thank you. But you and all the FNT hosts and guests have gotten me through hard times mentally. To quote my favorite song by Uncle Lucius, given a little of his soul every day, making overtime to keep the wolves. It's cutting off here, so I'm sorry to mess up that quote. I'm going to read that again. To quote my favorite song by Uncle Lucius, given a little of his soul every day, making overtime to keep the wolves away. And yet it's never, and then it ends. And yet it never ends. I think it's supposed to say ends, but it just says EN. Sorry there, Immolation FR. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I remember when I was going through my tough times, and I was listening to a lot of live. I had no money, so I had a little radio I'd listen to. And if you're listening to somebody live on the other end, you don't feel so alone, right? So I get it. I totally get it. And you've gotten us through hard times too, just so you know. It's reciprocal. Thank you. Hardwick Bendow for $1 says, after seeing them together as Fennec Shand and Boba Fett in The Mandalorian, it's hard to believe that Ming-Na Wen is only 2 years younger than Timur Morrison. She's 57 and he's 59. Yeah, she's older than me. She's 5 years older than me, and she looks great. She looks outstanding. Good genes. Tommy Inaldo for $5 says, regarding Carano, she was right. Watch Torchwood Miracle Day. I've seen it. Neighbors turning neighbors so their living dead loved ones can be hauled off to ovens. Chilling metaphor and reminder that it can happen here. Yep. So all the people who were saying that the fucking Fifth Reich was coming ended up being it. Not very surprised. Newsom is a gibbering douche canoe caught up in the raging rapids of his own ineptness. Glad you are fleeing California sooner than later. Wouldn't surprise me if that clown is trying to cook up a ban on leaving the state because of Koof. Jester of Roanoke for $1. I wouldn't be surprised. He thinks he's an emperor right now, and the only reason we're not fucking locked down is because of that recall. But believe me, the minute he is solidified in his position, it's coming down. Australia is our future. Gary, I can't believe the 20th anniversary of 9/11 is this year. It doesn't seem that long ago it happened, says Nicholas Horton for £5. No, it doesn't. My dad passed away that year. And it's 2 decades ago where the world changed. Not as much as it's changed now, though. Wait till we're on the other side of this one. I mean, it definitely wasn't the same country I lived in after that. Brown Gaijin for $2. Do you think you'll do an LA meetup before you leave? Yes, I will. I want to get Robert Meyer Burnett, get some of the LA peeps. Daniel for $5. Spider-Man is my number one. I won't watch until they remove Zendaya to give us the real MJ, which they never will do. They will never give up conquered ground. Nope. God, that's such a great point, Daniel. They will never give up conquered ground. Plus, I don't think they can. I think there are certain rights issues that Disney Marvel cannot encroach on. So I think there's certain characters that I think having Zendaya become MJ, I think that was like a license thing. I think they had to like, pay a little bit for that. I could be wrong. Sean the Movie Man, 71 for $5. Hey, Gary, you said the elephant in the room was the fans being attacked affects box office, but a bigger elephant in the room is these films being woke. Yes. I think that goes without saying, though. People are at least saying that the films are woke. Even creatives in Hollywood are saying, and I agree with you, they're saying the films are woke. What no creative is saying at all is you have alienated a large portion of your fan base by calling them Yahtzees and all kinds of shit for years. That actually does affect your bottom line. It does. James Gunn, his name might be mud now. Because after he got canceled, he came back and he was an asshole. He was an asshole about Gina Carano. So anybody who would have been sympathetic to that guy isn't right now. Isn't. I don't think he should have been canceled. I don't like his jokes. When it comes to stuff like that, I think we should all have we all have our own personal line, right? For certain things. But I think he has a right that free speech is free speech. Free expression is free expression. And if they're jokes, they're jokes. But there's sometimes you think there's a lot of smoke around that fire, but there has to be evidence. It's the same thing with as with Vic Mignogna. There's got to be fucking evidence before I am gonna send cancel anybody. There's got to be evidence, behavior over a long period of time, and I don't have the power to cancel anybody before I just say, nah, I'm done with that person. The one thing I learned in the comic shop is there is the customer who you piss off and they will get mad and they will let you know. But the vast majority of people that you alienate will just quietly walk away. So that's what Hollywood is experiencing right now. That giant elephant in the room is alienating a bunch of their audience, their customers, their paying customers who just went goodbye. And didn't make it a big issue of it, didn't announce it, just said, I'm done. And that's what most people do. Now, as a proprietor, I would want to know why people left. But it's on the proprietor to be aware of that stuff. And we are telling Disney and Marvel Comics and everybody else every day why people are leaving. They don't want to listen though. That's on them. I'm confident Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are probably in the movie, but just imagine the rage if they aren't. Oh yeah, Foot Surfer 1981. Yeah, that's the problem with allowing those rumors to fester and not saying anything. Now Disney, Kevin Feige pretty much made it clear in an interview that I saw a clip of on Emergency Awesome. They are fully aware of all the rumors that go around. Disney, Marvel, DC, they're all aware and they like it because that's people talking about their product. So of course they're not gonna say one way or the other if a rumor is true or not. Why should they? We're talking about their product. But that can bite you in the ass sometimes. But it's still worth the risk. It's totally worth the risk. But yeah, that would be, I think they're in it. I'm pretty sure they're in it. Maddox for $4.99. Hey, Gary, first off, thank you. Have you seen Jendi Tarkovsky's Primal? Instant classic. Tartakovsky's Primal. Yeah, I have. I've seen both seasons. Great. I freaking loved his Clone Wars. They were so good. And of course, Samurai Jack. But Primal is the shit. Highly recommend it. I do believe it's on Hulu. K-Biz, thank you once again for the $100 super chat. I appreciate it. Gino Lenzi for $5. I got the jab, and now I have been sick ever since. Been up to my eyeballs in hospital bills. Now they want us to get a booster shot? Count me out. /dead. Yeah, oh, well, I don't want that, Gino. Yeah, freedom of choice. Your body, your choice. Do what you like. If you guys want to get the jab, get the jab. By all means. If you don't, you don't. I promise you, my business will never be a business, if that ever happens, where it discriminates for that. Not happening. I hope you feel better. I hope you feel better. I've known a lot of people who have gotten the jab. The first one, it's been like the Moderna. The first one's fine. The second one, they get a little sick. Yeah. Check out YouTube channel Darth Angelus. He's making a quality Heir to the Empire 3D movie thanks to being based on Koof 2. Oh, I'll check it out. Yeah. Contrarian 420, dude. Thank you for the $5. Everything woke turns to shit. Hail Gary says the fixer won for £2. Yes, I do believe there's shirts ready for that, and good, because everything woke turns to shit. And that was said by Donald J. Trump. I have an action figure of Trump. Where is it? Can you see it? You can barely see it. He's right next to Zod. He's right there. I got Jeremy one too. Got at Comic-Con back when there was cons. Oh, did you hear about Tom King? Just some guy posted, because I'm blocked by Tom King, and I imagine he is too. So he posted a screen grab of Tom King saying some guy dressed as Rorschach came up to sign his books and didn't have his mask on, so he ratted him out to the con and had him escorted out. And then people started going, did that really happen? And then all of a sudden, the story started changing in public, and the guy's got no fucking shame. For one, Tom King fantasizes about snitching on people. There's something really fucking wrong with this guy. He writes books about, he deconstructs the male character, has them crying, practically has them getting pegged in the comic books, and now he wants to snitch. It's like he wants to transition into a Karen. I'm not really fucking sure, but the guy's a piece of crap. He's an absolute piece of crap, and I know this because he snitched out a Feisty fan. If y'all remember Feisty fan back in the day, she used to do streams with me in Comics Division. She worked at a comic store. Don't know if she does. Haven't talked to her in a while. Long while. She knew that the Batman wedding wasn't going down, and she learned it through a Facebook group that she was part of through her comic shop. Well, Tom King pretended to be nice to her, found out that she knew this beforehand, ratted her out to DC. She was ejected from the group, almost got her fired. Tom King's the asshole who led up for 50 issues to Batman getting married and then him not getting married, getting left at the altar. And it was all a long fucking con to cuck Batman, authored by Tom King. And somebody got wind of it before it came out. And it pissed a lot of shops off. It cost shops thousands of dollars. And this was all a long deconstruction, deliberate deconstruction of Batman by Tom King. By the way, former CIA agent, which I don't think is cool. And yeah, I absolutely believe he worked for the CIA, being a little fucking snitch. Sorry. Not sorry. It's ingrained in me, man. It is absolutely fucking ingrained in me through, and it will never come out. It's been years. It's been 25 years since I've been in prison. But snitches end up in ditches, period. There's much better ways to work things out than to rat people out behind their back. It's the most dishonorable thing you can fucking do. And it also gets you killed in prison. Like, if you want to get killed quick, that's how you do it. So you're taught day one don't ever fucking snitch. Mind your fucking business and don't snitch. Unfortunately, the real world don't work like that. A lot of people not minding their own motherfucking business. But that's okay. We live with it. But I digress. Tom King is a little biatch, and I'm blocked by him on Twitter. So he also unsolicited just unsolicited, woke up one day and said, I want to fucking cancel Jay Lee for doing a comic book cover on the day his like dog died. It was fucking bullshit. It's going to be a long road ahead, fellowship. Hopefully, we will win the culture war and common sense will reign supreme over our society. The Grizzly for $5. I agree. As long as, there needs to be a lot more of us. We're constantly recruiting for more common sense. And that means more people on the platform. And that also means, as far as, if you practice common sense, that's great. Background, beliefs, for the most part, don't matter. As long as you're here, and you're in it to win it. As long as you're in it to win it. Can't say everyone is. Can't say everyone is. And that's too bad. Thomas Minier for $5. I got my poke because my father had stage 4 cancer and my roommate couldn't due to health. Now the government is pushing on their freedoms. F them. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people have to, listen, I'm not going to, again, judge anybody for getting the poke. There's a lot of reasons to get it. You want to visit your mother in a home, you got to get the poke. Or in a hospital, you got to have the poke. Some jobs are making you get it, and some people don't have a fucking choice. I mean, they got to pay the bills. That's what makes it. That's why it's horrid. I'm waiting for lawsuits, and I asked. We had a lawyer at FNT Vegas, and I asked him this, and I'm like, hey, when are we gonna see the lawsuits? Because they're fucking breaking basic human rights here. And the lawyer said, as soon as somebody gets affected by it, a class action lawsuit will happen. So I'm just waiting for that. But I don't know if she came up with the term, but I heard this term first from Carrie Smith, the great Carrie Smith. Jim COVID laws. We're seeing the Jim COVID laws coming. Got a manga right for you. It has sci-fi, I don't even know what that word is. Hidden aliens, conspiracies, action, adventure, gore, TNA, drama, and tragedy. Check out Gantz. Is it Gantz or Gantz? It's Gantz. I will. Hey, a nice person. This is from Cami Anime S1. Thank you again. Cami, I don't know if you're male or female, so I'm just going to say they have been sending me One Punch. So thank you. I'm gonna read this backwards book. And I'm looking forward to it. So somebody sent me the One Punch. One Piece. I'm sorry, One Piece. My bad. I'm staring right at it. One Piece. And I've got volumes. This is volumes 13. So I think I've got all the volumes up to 15 now. So that is cool as hell. So thank you very much. Hey, it took something drastic for me to finally crack open some manga. Desperate for good storytelling. So thank you for sending the One Piece. CZ for £5 says, I read that one. Thank you, CZ. Scoodle Royal for £5 says UK COVID Vax Pass protesters Today tried storming ITV and Channel 4 news headquarters. People are reaching the breaking point. Oh my God, that is just, this is going to be sarcasm, by the way. That is just terrible. Everything I say, it's opposite day, at least for the next statement I'm going to make, okay? Just so that's total sarcasm, opposite day. You should not storm ITV and Channel 4 and CNN and MSNBC. That would be terrible if you did that. You should not storm the sources of information, Twitter. Protest. Protest, not storm. I mean, you can't storm because you're not the weather. But you should not protest civilly in front of these places. That would be terrible. Um, 1776 will commence again if they try to take the guns. Says Ray Studios for $2. Yeah, they can't do that. So let's play the tape all the way through on that one. So say they want to take the guns here. Let's just as a hypothetical. Where do you start? Well, obviously they try to start with the registered gun owners. But what happens when you get to the unregistered gun owners, which there are a lot of? Are you going to, I don't know. Again, this is a hypothetical. Is the administration going to send armed men into certain neighborhoods in Los Angeles and San Francisco and Detroit and Boston and New York and Miami and New Orleans and Nashville and Houston and San Antonio and Dallas, Seattle, Portland? Are you going to do that? Are you going to send armed men into certain neighborhoods? No, they're not. They're not. You want to talk about optics? Oof. Hutch and Pert for $10. This is Hutch. I'm building an 87-year-old's 442 on my channel. An 87 Oldsmobile. Oh, 442 on my channel. Oh, shit. Okay. Before I was a gearhead, I was an old school nerd. I grew up on Trek, TOS, and Doctor Who. Can't wait. I can't stand that they burned what I love to the ground. I can't either, Hutch. I had a 67 Oldsmobile. And it had the little Spitfire, right? And that you could still see the painting. Had 27,000 miles on it. It was an old lady who lived next to my grandma who gave it to me. And like the heartbreaker of all is I had to sell it to pay lawyer fees. And it was fucking beautiful. It was beautiful. Everything was pristine, like it was just brand fucking new. The nice, sweet old lady only drove it to the grocery store and back. So I got it, I was a 17-year-old, so I'm dumb as shit and got in a lot of trouble. Got ratted on by a dude. So I got pulled over. Okay, here's the story. So I'm with my dealer. He's in the back seat of the car with my girlfriend at the time. A girlfriend who wasn't Melissa. She doesn't like me talking about these. And she didn't like this girlfriend at all, by the way. They got in a fight at one point, which is awesome when two women are fighting over you. Fuck yeah. But I digress. Girlfriend and her brother were in the car. I am pulling out of the parking lot on Encinitas Boulevard. No, El Camino Real in Encinitas. And a cop who fucking hated my guts, Officer Babcock. Her name was Babcock. And she was like 5'4" and just stereotypical angry female cop. This is Babcock. Didn't like me. I had some Batman handcuffs hanging from my rearview mirror. She pulled me over. So she pulls me over. She sees my dealer in the back of the car. Dealer comes out, immediately tells her that the scale and the ounce of you-know-what he had, meth, in his car that he wasn't supposed to bring in my car, by the way. He brought it anyway, was mine. I go to jail. He walks free. And yeah, I lost my car over that. Did I pay him back for the kindness? Yes, I did. Tenfold. That's a story for another day. Do you think Sony holds Disney back from making Spider-Man too woke? I think so. I think Sony has all the power when it comes to that character, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Oh, I think Kevin Feige can't stand working with Sony. I know they're all like, oh, it's such a great partnership, and it's for the fans. Amy Pascal, I mean, like, I know Midnight's Edge covered this pretty well. God, we need another Sony leak. We need a Disney leak. We need a Disney email. Oh, that would be terrible. Back to opposite day. That'd be terrible if there was a Disney email hack. That'd be awful. Gustavo Magia. Is that how I say it? Mahia. Sorry, Mahia for $4.99. Thank you, Gustavo. Yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, Sony isn't great. Sony used to be great. But I think Avi Arad is a maniac. I think he's a maniac. I think he was good for a while. And you know what? It's a fragile ego. Dude has a fragile ego. It got in his way. Gary, if you could remove one storyline from Spider-Man comic history, which one? The Clone Saga or One More Day? Oh, One More Day. One More Day, without question. I could live with the Clone Saga. The Clone Saga didn't, like, fundamentally screw anything up, really. It was just a mess. But I did get some enjoyment out of the Clone Saga. I did. Especially in the beginning. No, One More Day, we were just waiting for it to be, flipped. And it wasn't when I left the store. So I had enough. And Spider-Man was my number one favorite character my entire life as far as comic books are concerned. He was in the first comic book I bought. So I was always a Spider-Man fan. I had, my collection isn't as big as it was. I had a Spider-Man museum. I'll show you pictures someday. I rented out the store next to me, or it was actually 2 doors down, which made it a problem. And I made it a Spider-Man museum, and I put my entire collection in there, and it filled an entire store. It still didn't have everything. And I've got props. I have the saw from Spider-Man 2. And it's just resin, by the way. It's not a real saw. So the saw that they use in the Doc Ock scene, I got that. They made like 5 of them. I've got one of them. I've got a couple of pumpkin bombs. Got a web shooter. A bunch of Daily Bugles that were signed and stuff. Like, I got a bunch of Spider-Man stuff. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I got some rare Spider-Man shit. I got this game. But Spider-Man's not my number one guy anymore. With it's Superman and Daredevil, and part of it is because Dan Slott's writing was such shit for so long. And One More Day. Thank you, Joey Bryant, for $5. Latino Slant for $4.99. What's up, man? Gary, imagine being called a white Latino racist for not using the word Latinx in my show. Clutch my pearls. Times we're living in. Time to push back. It is time to push back. It really is. And we have to. We have to. Didn't mean to get into this culture war at all. And gatekeeping was not something I was ever fucking comfortable with until I saw all this shit going on. My mind has changed. Now I'm completely comfortable with it. Absolutely. And of course, we're using common sense here. We don't want to gate like new fans who are genuinely curious. Doesn't matter what you look like. Doesn't matter what your background is. Whatever. If you're like, hey, this Lord of the Rings thing sounds kind of cool. Tell me more about it. Yes, of course you're welcome. Of course. I need to come in and change everything. The world needs to bend its will to me. No, I have no time for that. Nobody else does. Saboteurs, provocateurs, imposteurs. Got no time for them either. I love Star Trek, but I don't care for Picard or Discovery, says Commander Bracey for $10. I don't blame you because they're shit. You can still love Star Trek though. It depends on the franchise. Like, Az can't watch Doctor Who anymore. I don't blame him. Like, it's out of all the franchises, it's the most fucked. But maybe I'm in denial about it. But I can still go back and enjoy old Doctor Who. I watched half of the 2005 season 1 and enjoyed it just as much as I always enjoyed it. Christopher Eccleston, his performance in season 1 is the best performance by any actor of the Doctor, period. Now, I love David Tennant. I love Matt Smith. I love Tom Baker. I love all the Doctors except for the first female Doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen, who I thought was a bad doctor, a bad doctor, and a worse ambassador for the show. Peter Capaldi he tried, did the best he could. Star Trek, but Picard, you know what makes Picard bad? Imagine if Mark Hamill had been down with the decisions made by Rian Johnson. Now, Mark Hamill's a tool, by the way. I think the guy's a complete tool. But he cares about the character Luke Skywalker. Now, not enough to say no to a contract, but he cares enough that he wasn't down with that stuff, and you could tell he was miserable. Sir Patrick Stewart came up with some of the ideas in Picard. Like, it was his idea to basically have Picard run the Federation Apology Tour. Jane Theory, thank you for the $5 donation. I appreciate you. Check out Jane Theory's channel. She's got a nice voice, and she's a nice person. She has good takes. She doesn't agree with me all the time, though, and that's okay. Sean, ATHF, for $10 says, thanks, Gary. It's nice to see someone stand up for America. I'm a vet, and I think these people have forgotten what makes us great. The idea of America, it's a story of moral principle. Yep. By the way, MMac7314, I will answer your question in just a second. Yeah, we're not in a good way right now. I feel bad for the vets because they've been basically sold out, but the vets have been sold out by this party before. They've been sold out by the other party as well. Vets have been sold out a lot, and that can't keep happening. I've never lived in another country, so I don't mean to, disparage any other country, but I don't know how many countries where they would allow like a 3-time loser like me another fucking chance, and where I was able to work, put a lot of hard work in, and rebuild my life twice. Like pick myself up off the ground, and I had some help. I had a support system through AA and NA. And of course, the second time around, I had Mrs. Nerdrotic, and I was able to pick the pieces up and make something again, just out of fucking sheer will, determination, hard work, and staying sober. I don't know how many countries I would be allowed to do that in. So I am grateful for that. Patricia Tallman from B5 answered my question on Fat Steven Seagal's stream and jokingly ribbed me for my screen name. Add this nooner. Day made. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. Damn it. That was today, wasn't it? God dang it. I hope I didn't step on that. By the way, I'll plug it. Check out Steven Seagal's channel. He had Patricia Tallman on from B5, and I think he even invited me on, and I completely spaced it. Sorry, Fat Steven Seagal. But go check it out. Go check out the interview. That is epic that he got that interview. I'll share it on Twitter when I'm done with the nooner here. Jubs McGee for £5 says, "Hail Gary, watch out on the Newsom ballots. The envelopes have holes in exactly where some could see if the vote inside was yes or no." Yeah. You can see through I can confirm that. You can see through the envelopes. That was one of the first things I noticed. Jay Hardy 0786 for $19.99. Disney is destroying the entertainment business with woke political bullshit. Yes, they are. Every day. That What If episode. What If is about infinite possibilities, and what do? They deconstruct Captain America and they deconstruct Star-Lord. Chris for $5 says, "Oh man, don't let the politicians win. Fight back. This is what our founders wanted." Yes. This is our fucking country. They work for us. It's time for us to remind them. I say vote all the motherfuckers out. I'm not happy with many of them. And I'm just as unhappy with the ones that go out and say the right thing and don't do shit, which is most of them. Now, there's a couple good ones out there, but not enough. Nunya for $4.99. Hail Gary, if sucks knowing Crazy Susan takes a cut out of your super chats, why not take crypto donations since the dollar is going to tank anyways? Well, there is the Streamlab donations, Nunya, that you can do where Susan doesn't get a penny of those. The link is above the chat. If you so choose, if you can donate. If you can't, just hang out. Click like or dislike. I don't care. It's fine. You guys being here is great. I appreciate it. And I appreciate, this after the whole week, everything was just humbling, right? About seeing the response we got at the meetup. And it's not surprising that something that was just this giant love fest angered some people. That's a little perplexing. Something that was for all of our, all of the, I don't even know if I want to call you the fellowship of Friday Night Tights. Anybody and any channel involved, it was our thank you. It was our thank you to everyone who supported that show. Nicholas Horton for £5. Hail Gary, the animated Witcher movie is now on Netflix to watch. It's 1 hour and 24 minutes. Oh, I got to review it. What'd you think, Nicholas? Did you see it? Did anybody see it in the chat? I'm looking at the chat. Did anybody see the Witcher animated yet? Is it any good? See, the trouble, forgive me, longtime subscribers to my channel. You know what I'm going to say. any hashtag, there's problems that come with hashtags, associations, even like somebody who is a friend of mine, like if Az says something, I'm not responsible for what Az says. Az is not responsible for anything I say. And what the trouble is are enemies. And yes, we have enemies. How weird is that? How fucking weird is that? I review fucking television, dude. It's so childish. But we do. We do. You know, those are the usual suspects. There's the Uber Eats driver. Yeah, and you just, you know, it's being stuck in life, you know? You don't want to be stuck in life. You never want anybody to slow your roll. Life is too short to let that happen. Life is way too short to let that happen. So when it comes to the hashtag The Fandom Menace that I've used on videos back when, it was mainly when I did Star Wars stuff, but, you know, used it, had it in my Twitter bio for a while. I've always said it was a hashtag. That's all it ever was. There was no dues. There was no fees. It's not something you can be canceled from. It's not anything you can join or leave. It has no established leaders. And if it did, if it became an organization, I'd be out. It's just a hashtag that anybody could type whenever they want. And I have absolutely no control over that. And that's how it pretty much remained, as opposed to the other hashtags. But they all have their time, right? They all have their time. Don't know if this one's had time or not. Can't really say. But it's just a hashtag. Just like Gina Carano was right. Just like we love Gina Carano. Just like respect the lore. Just like FNT Vegas. FNT Vegas was a hashtag we used for the event because it was a Friday Night Tights event. And that's why we used FNT Vegas. It's now not applicable because we're not in Vegas anymore. So they come and go. Principles should not. Respect the lore. Respect our modern mythology. But there's a lot of things I can't control, and there are things I can. Punisher Season 2 was paint the Christians as murderous bigots. So I just assumed it was a step one of wokey joke Marvel. Yeah, I'll tell you the truth, dipped out about 2/3 of the way through. It was such shit. And I'm like, how the fuck? But yeah, like Daredevil Season 3. I know a lot of people like it. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think it's okay. I don't rewatch it that much. I watch Daredevil Season 1 and 2 like regularly. Max Redstone, what's up for $2 says, what if I just don't watch? Vegas was epic. Yes, it was, Max. Thank you for being there. It was great meeting you, dude. So many people we got to meet. So many names were associated with the faces, smiling fucking faces. People that I see, I saw their names in the chat. And then the lurkers came. That was great to meet some of the lurkers. Like, hey, I don't say anything in the chat, but, big fan of the show, big fan of this, and, big, supporter of Geeks and Gamers, and Az, and Ryan, Comics, and Odin, and Tom. And yeah, it sucked that, Tom and Odin weren't there. Hopefully they'll be at the next one. I suppose we could adjust the time now that the Star Trek convention is no more. So we'll have to see about that. Thank you for avoiding the cuties service. Happy belated birthday, sir. I would never guess that you are 50 plus, says Lance Johnson for €10. Thank you. Yes, I am 52. I am 52. Not too old to not keep learning, though. That's for sure. Joseph Finley for $4.99. Gary, thoughts on Morbius? One of my absolute faves. Hope they don't F it up. I thought the movie looked interesting, to be honest with you. I was actually intrigued by it. And I love Morbius too. I love him as a character. Spider-Man 101. Amazing Spider-Man 101. Spidey is pure gold, says Fragga Boom for $1.99. It is, for the longest time, the best, most consistent comic book. Spectacular Spider-Man was actually Spectacular Spider-Man for a time in the early 80s was better than Amazing Spider-Man. Had a lot of the Black Cat, Cloak and Dagger stuff, which was cool as hell. Best part about Black Cat is she liked Spider-Man and didn't want to know who Peter was. Didn't care. Fragga Boom. Justin P. for $5. Spider-Man merch outsells Avengers, Justice League, and X-Men merch combined. Yep. Consistently. Like always. It's never had a problem selling. It is a fucking gold mine. All the time. I just can't get into daddy issues Spider-Boy. Peter Parker has been a self-made hero, not some Iron Man stan, says Master Clockwork for $5. Yep, that's where Marvel completely misses the boat. And that's why we love Spider-Man. That's why he really connected with our generation particularly. Generation X, the latchkey generation where both of our parents weren't around, and it was like the first generation to kind of experience that. So we had to make do with our time, and we did. And that's what Peter represented. That's why he connected so with Gen X so much, in particular. Man of War 665, the neighbor of the beast, says, speaking of New Orleans, mayor has issued executive order for mandatory vax of city employees by August 30th. After 30 years of employment, looks like my semi-retirement will become permanent this week. They will have to dismiss me through my middle finger. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude. Man of War is awesome, by the way. Met Man of War at Vegas. So many of you showed up. It was great. Screw the D's and the R's. The only thing the government knows is force, says Nazim W. for $20. I agree. I agree. I am over both. I mean, like Larry Elder's a Republican, but he's like not a career politician, and he sounds like at least he owned a business. So I'm for that. I'm okay with that. The D's have just lost it. You know, listen, I've lived under the D's for a long time here in California, and the D's can suck D's nuts. That's what they can do. I've got to move. I mean, the politicians legalize adulthood for $50. Thank you very much. Because I got to move on. Move on from town to town. Bad company. Here's some funds for the move. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, my God. I can't wait. We've got, everything is packed up into 2 storage facilities in undisclosed location in Northern California. And then we have the rest of our stuff here in undisclosed location in Southern California. And we'll find out in a matter of days. But I mean, like, if any of y'all have ever sold a house, it's a fucking annoying experience because of escrow. Because you pay this escrow company to take care of all your paperwork for you, and what they do is you end up doing all of the work for them and they still charge you. Like you'll send them some papers and then they'll fucking lose them. They'll call you the next day and ask you for those papers again. Yeah. I've never had a go. I mean, I've sold 2 houses in my life. Yeah, because before this YouTube thing happened, I had careers and did stuff before this. Yeah, I sold a condo and a house. And yeah, the condo I did good on. Ben Parker for $5 is as the new Waldo. Will he be in new places each time you turn on the studio cameras? P.S. Do you get the 87 FAS catalog I sent? Thoughts? Ben Parker, I haven't opened up my P.O. box yet. So I haven't seen that. I'll let you know, and I will put it on the Square Up because we're going to be doing Toxic Mailbag in the Square Up. And again, big thanks to Cami Anime S1 for One Piece. Ooh, well, I don't think that puts it. Okay, I just wanted to be sure. There's no docs there. Good, but there, One Piece. One Piece. So and I got a bunch and My Hero Academia too. Can't wait to watch that. But as soon as I open that up, I will let you know. Okay, so I apologize. I haven't done it sooner, but I'm still catching up on stuff. Hutch High Perf for $10. Hutch a Perf. Let's fix Doctor Who. Capaldi is stuck in a time loop by the Master and fed images of his regeneration. Romana returns from E-Space to save him. He regenerates normally. We get a spin-off Romana show. That's all they needed to do. I would watch it, support it, review it. I love the character of Romana a lot. And they can even, I don't know, bring back somebody and have them regenerate. I think that would be awesome. Fucking awesome. When Marvel and DC by the way, thank you again for the $10. When Marvel and DC started to push to constantly have #1 issues, breaking up original issue numbers, it started to break up a lot of folks, made it hard to collect, kept track of, and sort of. Then came variant covers. Jason, the mostly average for $20. You are not kidding. When it went to Spider-Man Volume 2 and then Volume 3, and now like I lost track. And then when everything went back, and when it hit 600, I'm like, I'm done. Just put a holy shit. I just, that was it. I'm done. And I was a completist. I mean, I was nuts. I was fucking nuts. I wanted to own every Spider-Man comic ever made. And you know how fucking hard that is? Like foreign reprints and shit. I was getting way into that. I didn't have a lot of money. I was doing it through my store. Holy shit. Hang on. Got a huge super chat. George Molo. George. I'm going to call you after the show, by the way. George says humanity needs contact, community, sight, sound, touch. Humans need fellowship, especially while dogs are killed and children are pepper sprayed with their smiles locked behind masks while the sheep baa. Trumpet hope, fight fear, reclaim freedom, live your best life, unite the fellowship. Hail Nerdrotic, hail George Molo. Fucking George is awesome. That is beautiful. That should be our mission statement. If I'm gonna have a mission statement here at Nerdrotic. George, Jesus, $299.99. George, thank you. George was a huge part of Vegas. And again, I got to thank him every show. John Bartolo, thank you for letting us use your studios for Friday Night Tights. I'm forever grateful. And actually learned a lot. Learned a new system, which was actually good. And Eric K for shuttling everybody around, making sure people got to their hotel room safe, and just being a mensch, Eric K. Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, and the entire crew. Really a brilliant. We had, X-Ray Girl print up, the As, which is right there. She did that unsolicited. We had the posters, we had all of our stuff that we gave away. And that's an important distinction that I want everybody to know is like, I am not, when these meetups happen, I ain't charging. I ain't charging if for just to see me. That would yuck. Now I know there's other people who charge, but they offer like a service, right? So I don't mean to judge them. Like I know there's some World of Warcraft guy who does a show or something like that. I mean, yeah, that's like to each his own. Okay, so I'm not going to judge, but for the first party that a lot of people have had, including myself, for a long fucking time. It was about just you guys meeting each other, and us meeting you, and it was a beautiful thing. Yeah, people want to shit on beautiful things. They do all the fucking time. That's just part of life. I think the most you can do is pity them, or the best you can do is pity them. Thank you, George. Thank you. Love you, man. If Doctor Who is corrected, would you like to see more classic villains return? I like to see the Toymaker, the War Chief, and the Ronnie. Yes, the Ronnie for sure. I can't believe they haven't brought back the Ronnie. And the Valiard make a return, says Chris for $10. Yes, all of the above. All of the above, Chris. But not... Listen, this is how fucking dumb the BBC is. J. Michael Straczynski said, I want to run your show. And they're like, well, we have to go through a process first before we contact you, and we'll probably say no. Well, then, you know what? There's your answer, ladies and gentlemen. There's your answer. The BBC is fucking she-tarded, and they're not going to hire Michael J. Straczynski. When you have one of the best showrunners alive offering to run your show, and you don't say yes immediately, I don't give a fuck who you offend. I personally don't give a shit. This is how does Robert Meyer Burnett put it? This is show business, not show frenzies. I don't think he puts it that way, but I do. This is show business, but it's not a business to the BBC. It's propaganda. It's propaganda. Nice spam. We could get rid of that. Boom. I was like, she tarded, by the way. That is from Justin Tardo. Or Fidel Castro Jr., however you want to call him. However you want to call it. Just another red shirt for $10 says, sorry, Gary, I've got to disagree. Christopher Eccleston didn't make me care about the about Doctor. David Tennant did. Oh, it's all right. Well, listen, we can always disagree. I think Christopher Eccleston brought me in with his I thought he really went, I don't know. Rewatch it. Just another red shirt. Like, there is a lot of nuance to his performance. And you could tell he was drawing in, like, Christopher Eccleston's got a lot of problems. He's got a lot of personal problems. And I think he drew on those personal problems. And, like, you feel the torture. You feel the torture. Now, David Tennant is just an endearing, charming man. Like, he's the kind of guy everybody fucking likes because he's nice. And he's funny. So David Tennant is the linchpin to current Doctor Who. All right. He is what make the RTD era. But more importantly, David Tennant is what makes Doctor Who worth money today. I mean, I don't know if Doctor Who, if you want a bottom line, absolutely everything, Doctor Who is David Tennant. Period. So when people go to license the product, they want that David Tennant era. That's the sweet spot. That's where people watch it the most. Those episodes are watched. This is just what I heard, but like 100 times more than anything else. Not 5 times more, not 10 times more, 100 times more than anything else. Than Matt Smith. The Christopher Eccleston ones are watched quite a bit as well, but the David Tennant ones are through the roof. It's the entire value of the license is the David Tennant era. That's what I'm saying. And that comes from my guy. He just says, period, end of story. As far as toy sales are concerned, classic, it's just the hardcore fans left right now. So the only people buying toys are the hardcore, people like me, are the only people buying toys right now. So that's why they're making them for just hardcore Doctor Who fans. Guys like Ian. If you know Ian on Twitter, I follow him. His collection is probably maybe bigger than mine. Mine's pretty fucking big. But I think Ian's might be bigger than mine. But mine is people can isolate that. I'm talking about my Doctor Who fucking collection. I don't go on the internet and talk about my my dick size. That's Jeremy's territory. That's fine. My Doctor Who collection is pretty massive. You will see it someday. It would fill this room 3 times. Maybe 4. Giggity, says Mavis. It's this, you start live streaming, you start talking, and then you hear some, mine's pretty big. And it's like, oh, that's not going to sound good. That's going to sound like, yeah. Patrick Stewart is a literal she-tard. William Shatner is the fucking boss. Still kicking at 90, all while looking 20 years younger than the fucking moron. Yeah, he's a fucking moron. No, Patrick Stewart is as dumb as a bag of hammers. Again, I need to refer to Razor Fist. All right, a damn fucking great YouTuber did a couple of videos that I highly recommend you watch. They're just purely, he's so good at a lot of shit. But the Hollywood Was Always Red, and you'll see the guy through these videos. You find out that the truth that there was a lot of communism in Hollywood. There still is, by the way, and I'm forgetting the name of the guy who basically ratted out some of the actual commies. And then he got honored later. And when he got honored later, there was certain people who wouldn't applaud him. Warren Beatty stood up, gave him a big thing. So good on Warren Beatty. But Patrick Stewart was interviewed prior to this guy, I can't remember his name, getting the review. He's all, it's a disgrace that he got the, and yeah. So Patrick Stewart, I don't think it's not a coincidence he was wearing all red in that now infamous Variety interview that I did a video on that a lot of people watched, where he essentially said, yeah, a lot of this stuff was my idea, but you can tell he's just parroting what he's heard or half heard through his very elite social circles or whenever he occasionally watches the news. But mostly he's just a walking avatar of emptiness, like most actors that I have experienced in my time, that there's not a lot of personality. Something you'll hear from an actor a lot is the term, I'll be whatever you need me to be. Actors say that quite a bit. I'll be whatever you need me to be to get this job. I'll do anything. That's the thing about actors. Failed comedians. Adult pretenders. They're fucking fake. Not everyone. Not everyone. There's a lot of hardworking, like middle class character actors who like run a pretty good system and do hard work. But half, and they'll be whatever these corporations need them to be. Joe Rogan talked about this. So if they need to be little NPCs and they pass on their the downloaded information, that's what they'll do. Do they believe it or not? I don't know if they're smart enough to believe anything. That's up to the individual. Patrick Stewart is not the sharpest tool in the shed. And even in my brief time in Hollywood, and I've had friends who are actors. I've had friends who are rock stars who are dated actors. And I've had the rock stars come to me and go, I will never date a fucking actress. Because you never know like they can turn on the fucking tears whenever they want and turn them off. So you never know what's real. I can still enjoy classic Who and new Who up until Capaldi's last season. I just choose not to acknowledge the giant sex toy chibs attached to it. Oh, that's good. Says Fred Sacco for $5. I can watch up through season 8. I can't do after season 8. Gary, they just banned Russian ammo in the United States, making up 1/3 of all the ammo sold in the U.S. Guns are useless without it. Yeah, well, we just got to make our own, right? Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. That's bad. No, they're going after it. I'm not denying, like, John, I didn't want to make it like sound like they're not going to try. Like, and we should be complacent. No, we should absolutely, like, I don't even have gun rights, but I think you should have gun rights, and I will help fight for your gun rights. And maybe I can get mine back someday. Who knows? But no, I think we absolutely need them. My wife is going to take care of that. And yeah, that's bad. But when it comes down to it, they're going to go after the registered gun owners, of course, but they're not going to go into the fucking hood and try to get the guns back. I can't see that happening. But maybe that's part of the plan. I don't know. You tell me. Robert Barnes, I'm on vivabarneslaw.locals.com, has pointed out that many are getting medical religious exemptions for the poke. Even the Indiana University had one reliable medical exemption. He has forms, letters for people that can use. Oh, Robert Barnes is great, by the way. And I met him for like a second at the meetup. And that is I don't have many regrets. I want to publicly apologize to Robert Barnes. I meant to go up and talk to him and sit down and talk to him. I want to get him on my show. I want to get him on Friday Night Tights. I've been on Viva Barnes. It was fucking great. Those guys are fantastic. Go check them out. And check out vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Go check it out. And apparently they have forms that you can use for medical and religious exemptions. Use them all day long. I've always preferred DC comics, but my first comics were my dad's Spider-Man comics. So Spider-Man always had a special place to me as well. Marvel Team Up number 42 was the first comic I bought. It said still only 25 cents on it. I purchased it from a 7-Eleven on Rancho Santa Fe Road, right here in North County, San Diego. As a matter of fact, that 7-Eleven still exists, and it's about 7 miles away from me right now, to the west. They don't sell comic books in there anymore. But I remember my mom handing me my quarter, and she said, you can pick one. And I saw this bright red and blue guy that I remember seeing from a show called The Electric Company on the comic book. And then I saw this green and yellow guy, and it was the Vision. And they were in the 1500s fighting a pilgrim. I wish I still had like the copy I bought, which I don't. I wish I did. Spider Claw 74 for $5 says it is woke. His entire supporting cast is PC'd. Yeah, it is. It is Spider Claw. It's woke. It's Spider-Man Homecoming. It's very Disney PC. It's very Disney PC. So you are correct, Spider Claw 74. Oh, I am no fan of Homecoming and Far From Home. Not at all. They are some of the worst for Marvel for me. I think the only thing that good came out of Far From Home is the 1/6 scale Mysterio because the costume is good. That's a good costume. Pirate Queen says for $4.99, did you know that David Dasmalchian, I don't know if I'm saying that name right, is a recovering addict? There is a great video of him talking about his experience and recovery. I don't know who that is. I'm going to go check it out right now. Maybe if I put the name to the face. Okay. Polka Dot Man. Polka Dot Man is David Dalsmashian. I couldn't remember his name in the review either. I'll check it out. I will definitely check it out. Thank you. Thank you, Pirate Queen. I appreciate that. Sensei Sharkbait for $4.99. Jumping through hoops to get religious exemptions for Washington state workers' vax mandate. Dream job, and they want to take it away. That sucks, man. I'm sorry. I apologize for our authoritative fucking regimes out there. Hopefully we can crush them and bring sanity back to the world. Just read Moriarty the Patriot. That was good, says Nerdy Girl Creates. I'll have to check it out. Thanks, Nerdy Girl Creates. Dean Krantz for $5. Due to his actions, I think Tom King was a torturer for the CIA. He is a petty human that enjoys the pain of others. I would not argue with that. Yeah, there's something wrong with that boy, man. Something ain't right about somebody who likes to tell that much. Period. Hey, Gary, what's your take on Andrew Garfield's Spidey? William Leahy for £2. Not much. I like Andrew Garfield as an actor. He's really good in his Doctor Who episode. But Spidey doesn't fucking skate, and he's not cool. I think Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy, not bad. He wasn't terrible, though. He wasn't terrible. But like his Spider-Man movies they're just mad. They made money though. They made money, but Amazing Spider-Man's fucking bad. That's where I had nerd rage. If you go deep on my nerdrotic.com, you'll hear my story of how I like lost it in the movie theater when Gwen Stacy died. Because I knew that like that's not a moment you're going to get again. It's like redoing the Phoenix Saga. It's like you could only do these things once, and if you waste it on some, if you let some shithead like Kurtzman write the death of Gwen Stacy, you're going to get something that shitty. Ron K for $5 says RMB bent the knee 4 days ago. He only gets credit for talking to people with common sense, but in my humble opinion, he has none. Yeah, he's open to. I mean, I don't agree with a lot of Robert says. Robert, first and foremost, is a creative. It's just surprising he's a creative that's open to talk to us. But creatives are not customers. Okay, creatives are not customers. They do not relate to us. They are perplexed at how much we care about stuff. Creatives, in a lot of sense, are like normies. I mean, they could be very talented at something they don't give a fuck about. Like, I can go draw fucking Spider-Man or whatever, but I'm not going to read any of these things. I don't regularly read any of these things. And you see it a lot. You see it a lot. There was a reason they kept the creatives quiet. Artists, for the most part, are not very good salesmen and women. There are exceptions to everything. Hi, Gary. What are your thoughts on Apple's adaptation of Asimov's Foundation? The usual tropes were present in the trailer. One to avoid, I fear. I agree. Building Better Worlds for £5. I'm going to check it out, but it looks like that they're going to twist it and make it into some fucking feminist propaganda. Fuck if I know. And I know, like, I haven't read Foundation, but everybody said, like, there's no way they could do that. And I'm like, I hope I'm wrong, but I think there's a way. There's always a way for them to make shit more woke. You shouldn't have the freedom to spread a deadly disease to other people. Women have the choice to get an abortion because it only affects her and the husband. Devin McGregor, I shouldn't have the freedom to spread a deadly disease. Bullshit. Thanks for the $5. Bullshit. I have the freedom to walk out my fucking door and do whatever the fuck I want. Now, as a responsible human being, if I feel like I have come down with a deadly disease, I wouldn't go out and fucking spread it. But are we talking about a deadly disease or a disease that can... There's a difference between a deadly disease and a disease that does kill, because a lot of diseases kill. A lot. Then you shouldn't have the freedom to get in your car, which they want to take away as well. And there are people out there who might disagree with you, Devin. There might be another thing involved with the abortion. I'm not going to have that debate here, but there might be someone else involved who might not have a choice of what happens. But that's, again, an argument for another day. Oh, so Devin, should we just all stay at home then? How are we going to eat? How is society going to function? How long should we stay at home? If I should not have the freedom, who decides whether I'm spreading something or not? The government? Eric July has already exposed we have faulty testing everywhere, according to my male physician sponsor. The test I took was only 50-50, and he said it's by the way, this is an opinion. This is an opinion, Mama Susan. He said 50-50 is 100% useless. Thankfully, and I'd also tell you that you can lock everybody down. It's still spreading. That ain't gonna stop it. Not unless you really lock everybody down, and that won't help either, in my opinion. Ron K., my uninformed, ignorant opinion. Governor Murphy just announced all teachers in New Jersey must be poked. I am one of many who is fighting this. I may lose my job, but this is a battle we must fight, and we will win. Leo Zakari, I'm sorry if you're going to lose your job, but you're right. It's a battle. We got to fight. We got to win. And there are people out there who are saying, like Devin here, that you shouldn't have the freedom to spread a deadly disease, and they don't really believe that. They're just saying it so they can gain power and control. I'm saying there's people who are full of shit out there, who are disingenuous, who would tell you things, but their actions show you different things. And these are the things we need to pay attention to. Gary, my dad passed this Monday. You're right. The world changes. It seems empty. Oh, love your show. I'm sorry, Laser Doctor, for $20. Yeah, after your pop passes, there's a giant hole in your life for a long time. And it'll get better over time. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I know what you're feeling. Make sure you're around lots of friends. I think that's the best thing to do. Make sure you're around lots of people. Don't isolate if you can. Hi, Gary. Wife and I had our first UFO sighting on last Thursday. They were doing some weird stuff. Blew my mind. Any exozones soon? Yes. Bad bill for $5. I'd say in the next couple of weeks. Bobby Brimstone for $10. I know you mentioned Spider-Man 2 was the number 2 best superhero film in your opinion. What is number 1? Superman, the movie. Donner, all the way. That is the template with the greatest casting of a superhero ever. Christopher Reeve as Superman. Bill Sotheby for $20. Of course, Newsom would try to stop people from leaving. He's already tried to make, you're right. He's already tried to make people pay taxes for 10 years if they moved out of the state because of all businesses and people were leaving the state is losing money. Yes. Now, he did cap it at like super uber rich, but he's going to put that down. And yeah, you know what I would do if they tried to do that to me? Not pay it. Fuck that. What's up, Gary Hale? Says Nerdy Girl Creates for $1.99. What is up? What is up with you? Do you think you'll do an LA? I read that one. Gary, I can't believe it's. Oh, I read that one too. So we're all caught up on that one. Let's go to the donation side. $25 from fan from the early days. Keep up the truth and content. Love the show. Says Damage Done for $25. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging around. Appreciate it. Tracy Wilborn for $5. Which is dumber, a bag of hammers or a box of rocks? Okay. No, sorry. I'm dumber. But Tracy Wilborn for $5 says, which is dumber? A bag of hammers. B, a box of rocks. C, Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart. Hardwick Benthau for $1 says, in my headcanon, the Husbands of River Song is the Doctor Who series finale. Also, Missy is not a regeneration. She's the John Sim Master's consciousness in a stolen body. The personality differences are from all that estrogen messing with his mind. I like that headcanon, Hardwick. I think that's rather good. And I like the Husbands of River Song. I think that's a good... It's great. It's fucking great. It's a little silly, but the fact that you see that what the Doctor does for River Song is pretty cool. Pretty cool. For me, season 2 of Daredevil was a letdown. Oh, I disagree. The Punisher parts were great, but the Elektra parts were terrible. I disagree. Both because of the writing and the Elodie Jung's performance, and the flashbacks were a tiny young Elektra beat up a full-grown man was cringe. Kind of happened in the comics, dude. So, yeah, I don't know. I watch it all the time. I think it's very superhero-y. That's what I liked about it. Speaking of, I read that one. But thank you, Hardwick Benthau, for the $1. I appreciate it. Thank you, Tracy Wilborn. If you're Gina Carano, you got to be pissed and feel pretty good about what's going on right now. Well, she's obviously horrified with what's going on. with what's going on. I gotta make this short because, well, for one, we're gonna be back with the Real BBC tomorrow, 10 a.m. with Mahler and Az. As far as I know, it's Mahler just guesting when he wants. I'm not going to commit him to the show. And it is comic book show, and I'll show you some of the comics. We're going to be bagging and boarding. Booyah. You know that line that Ray Fisher didn't want to fucking say? Booyah. You don't need to see my inventory. But yeah. Suicide Squad, baby. Full run of, and like, these aren't expensive. You can get these pretty cheap. And these are fantastic books. These are fantastic books. Like, yo. Classic cover right there. There's Amanda Waller telling off the Batman. I'm looking for another cover. There's Puma. Oh, some great costumes, everybody. There he is. There's Flag. Oh, that killed me when Rick Flag was killed. That was dumb. That's the only part I don't like. I mean, like, it was actually good for the story. And I don't think, I think if they did another movie, they'd probably bring, Joel Kinnaman was really good as Rick Flag, I thought. Oh my God, some of these costumes. But yeah, we'll bag and board these, show them off tomorrow. I got some other comics to show off as my collection becomes one. We're also going to show off Galadriel. It's my doll, my fucking Lord of the Rings doll. Somebody sent me a Galactus. I don't know if this works. I need to put some batteries in it. That was cool. Yeah. So lots of stuff to go over. So yeah, Az, Mahler, maybe some other people. I don't know. Somebody asked about Babylon 5, right? Is that what I saw a super chat there? I saw a super chat for Babylon 5. Let me see. My girlfriend decides who's spreading, says AJ Birch for $25, and he deserves it. I'm new to your channel, so I don't know your opinions. My favorite comic book movie has always been V for Vendetta. Do you like that or no? I love it. I fucking love that movie. Is it a favorite comic book movie? No, but I would put it in top 3 of non-superhero variety. My favorite, that's kind of a superhero. I'd have to think about that because it might be number 1 as far as non-superhero comic book movie. I'm a big fan of a movie called The Losers, and which was recommended by Chris Gore on DVD Tuesday. I love the silliness of that movie. But V for Vendetta, no, is fantastic. As a matter of fact, I got the very special edition. Oh, as Mikey Gussler, are you out there? Are you out there, Mikey Gussler? Oops. I got my Steelbook Snyder Cut. And it comes with cards. Comes with cards. So I got my Steelbook Snyder Cut. Mikey Gussler. And then we got this. Gary, did you ever watch Malcolm in the Middle? If so, was your favorite episode? Just genuinely curious. Jesus Davila for $10. No, I didn't. I am not the biggest sitcom fan in the world. I would say the last sitcom that I watched regularly was Scrubs. I liked some. Cheers, Seinfeld, Married with Children, Scrubs. I know I'm forgetting one. Perfect Strangers. But most of them I hated. Or just avoided. I know I review television and film, but back in the day, I didn't watch very much television. I did when I was up, once I was kicked out of my house, I didn't have one to watch. Watched a lot in prison, but when I was running the comic shop, I watched Battlestar Galactica, and that was about it. And Doctor Who. I'm confident. Okay, I read that one. Somebody asked about B5. I'm right now. I have made no progress on B5. I just started season 4, and Az and I have talked about it. I need to actually go back and watch 3 to the end, and then that should be happening soon. And we could talk about B5 on the real BBC. So X-Ray Girl will pick up any super chats that I missed, and I'll do them in the square up. There's a square up coming out within the next 48 hours. And real BBC. And so I think I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to take it week by week as far as Monday nooners are concerned. Because I'm planning on putting out a little more content. Please review the movie Sweet Girl on Netflix. Says Cly 5 for $1.99. I don't know. I'll check it out, but I have no idea what it's about. I guess I gotta review The Witcher animated that movie. That dropped, so I gotta watch that. Probably watch that tonight. As far as my next review, that's probably going to be, I'll keep doing What If, I don't care. And then then Shang-Chi. I'm going to review Shang-Chi. But as far as Babylon 5, haven't given up on it. I love it. And I'm watching it on HBO Max, but somebody also sent me a set, which is fucking awesome. So thanks everyone. Thanks to the Nerdrotics. Thanks to everyone who super chat and donated. They all get read in square ups. And I will see you at 10 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow with Az from Heel versus Babyface and Mahler as we do the real BBC. And we have a lot to talk about with that. And we'll hear what Mahler thinks about the Spider-Man trailer. I don't know if he's seen it or not, but we'll find out. In the meantime, thanks everyone who has subscribed to the channel. If you haven't, please consider doing so. It's the only way you're going to see my videos. And yes, over the next 30 days, you're going to be seeing a lot more videos from me. Usually I do like 5 a month. Look for double that. Look for double, maybe triple. We'll see how much work I get. And look for a Picard review before I move. That I can tell you. That's happening before I move. If you guys ever got a question or anything, Gary at nerdrotic.com. You can follow me on Instagram, instagram.com/nerdrotic. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or twitter.com/nerdrotics. Long story. My old comic shop got the Nerdrotic, and they're too dumb to either release it or they don't want to. I don't know. But it's just Nerdrotics now. You can follow me on Twitter. I got a Facebook group, got a Facebook page, got a Discord. Thanks to Kristen Nova. She's the best. And I got a website, nerdrotic.com, where I just back everything up. You can all podcasts and all live streams get uploaded on Nerdrotic Live. You can go sub over there, and they also go on iTunes and Spotify. So there's stuff coming out all the time. If you want to send me an article, you got a scoop, you got anything, again, Gary at nerdrotic.com. Friday Night Tights this Friday with, of course, Az from Heel versus Babyface, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Kinnell from RK Outpost, Odin from OMB Reviews, Comics Division, Tom from Midnight's Edge, and our special guests will be Dan Vask and Chrissy Mayer, produced by X-Ray Girl. Please enjoy some credits.
Nerdrotic.com.
We got a $50 super chat from TJ. Thank you for the $50. TJ, for $50, it's a donation. It's on the donation side. It says, fuck New Jersey. I grew up there. It's almost as bad as California. I will fight if necessary and die on this hill. Fuck the poke. Fuck the pandemic bullshit. It's just another weapon for the government to try to use against us. Get you... get some, I'm sorry. Get some guns and ammo now. I got to read it, Mama Susan. I got to read it. Them's the rules. And I agree. So, TJ, thank you for the $50. Yeah, there's certain states that just suck. Now, I can't speak much to New Jersey. I think I've driven through it once. But I'm in California, so I can't judge anybody's state. I did my best, everybody. I did my best. I tried. Just know it's like my dad always told me. You mess with the bull, you get the horns. Oh my God, it's the first time I've watched these credits. Oh, Perry, you're a genius.